Right, let's try and get it off. I did it. I did it. Blimey.
Well done, Gal. Well done.
Yeah, I know. Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to the Claret and Booze Up on Friday night, where it belongs on a Friday night. So, we have no Nick this week until probably an hour into the show, or when he chooses to come along. He was going to have a much-deserved week off, but then decided to come along later anyway. So we've got a very busy night ahead of us. I'm going to go through the agenda in a minute, but first of all, let's introduce our guests. Making his second appearance on the show, we've got Grant. Evening,
Thank
Grant.
you for having me back. Yeah, doing good, guys.
Well, you were so impressive first time. We had to have another go. You know what I mean? You brought your little friend along as well. So show us your there you go. So.
Yeah, I think the rule is 1 out of 10 a night, isn't it? We have to have
1 out of 10 a night, and he's been decreed the carrot cruncher by Nigel. So that's what that's all about. And Nigel, the legend is Nigel Kahn. Welcome back. How are you, Nigel?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah,
good.
It's bloody cold in here, but you know, I'm sure I'll soon warm up with my 2 heaters.
Have you not sorted out the heating in your shed yet?
No, I didn't come. Normally, what I do now works out. If I come down 3 hours before I'm supposed to do anything and switch the heating on, it sort of warms it up nice. But didn't do that tonight, so I've got to listen to John for half hour.
So you haven't been tempted to do what I do and kind of
Here.
You haven't been tempted to do what I do and kind of build a smaller shed inside a shed so as it stays warm, because that's what
I have got, you know what, I have contemplated that, like putting a dividing wall in and separating it, and twofold. One, I need more wall space because I've run out of places to hang pictures.
Yeah.
The problem I've got with that is I've got this.
Oh yeah. The
shed.
Yes. Yeah, that was from that was from the London's the Upton Park, wasn't it? From the tunnel.
Circa 2006.
Yeah.
So but then you'd think, well, I can't really divide that, can I?
No, you can't. But there are ways you can do it. I'll show you what I did. I'll send you me preliminary sketches. Right.
Yeah.
John, how are you, mate? Welcome.
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, plodding along, mate. It's been a busy week in the cab. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
And just cracking on with it all, really, mate. You know.
You got. I'll tell you what you should do. You should. You go back. You got us all to guess the fair the other day. So where was it? Yeah. Gloucester Road to Bethnal Green.
Gloucester Road Station to Cambridge Eve Station, basically. And
right. Okay. So what you need to do, people put in the comments, how much do you think that fare was?
Did you have enough petrol, John? That's what.
He's always got enough petrol.
I've always got enough diesel. Don't you worry.
He's got.
I'll go down to the out of town areas and fleece the tractors, the red stuff.
And 3 Colt Street, you down there, are you?
Yeah.
No, look, we got a busy agenda tonight. We're going to go through the news to start with. Obviously, news story number 1 is going to be about the Europa League. We'll touch on that in depth. We've got another couple of stories as well. Then we move on to a special feature hosted by Nigel, the best West Ham manager ever. Then we'll move on. Nick will be here by this time. We'll move on to the quiz. Move on to the quiz that Nigel will win as usual. I'm hoping to get a second place. I've done that once.
Well, Nick's done the quiz this week, so I can actually do it properly. So I'm gonna give him the best shot as well.
Oh right, okay. You're gonna compete.
Be honest, Gal. Look, second place is like winning, isn't it? When I'm here,
it is. You know? It is. That's what I said. It was a win. I count that as a win. And then we'll move on to the preview, the Wolves preview. Very tough game at the weekend, and we'll do a squad selector and a Premier League predictor. So all in all, a very, very busy night ahead of us. But let's move on to the news, and we'll move on to story number 1, which is around the Europa League draw. So Europa League draw was made this morning. We probably got drawn against one of the toughest teams in the competition with Sevilla. They've won the tournament 6 times, and the final is in Seville. So they've got a lot of vested interest in seeing West Ham off in this particular tie. But the way I look at it is, you got to beat the best to be the best, haven't you? But if you look at the way these games have kind of have panned out, you've got to question the seeding system. You know, because it looks like the Champions League dropouts have all got largely favourable draws in the round of 16, haven't they? And it didn't have to be this way. So it's let's move that one on to, let's go around the table. John, we'll start with you on that one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was quite interesting because when I didn't really pay much attention to it until today, and I looked at the seeded and the unseeded, and unbeknown to me, obviously the unseeded teams are made up of the winners of the playoffs, so the ones that drop out of the Champions League against the second place in the Europa League groups, which is a bit unfair, really, because the teams coming out of the Champions League are generally very strong, aren't they? Majority, even though they've finished third up there. So yeah, the seeding system's not, it's not great. But to be honest with you, there's a couple of weak teams, in the group, if you like, or weaker teams, but any of them would have been tough for us to play. But I think quite rightly, Sevilla are, probably one of the best. I think, like you said, they've won it 6 times since 2000. They've actually won it 6 times in the last 21 years now. So they sort of made it their own. Was it Unai Emery? When it Unai Emery was before he went to Arsenal, he sort of became a little bit of a legend with that trophy at the club, didn't he? So
yeah, they take it seriously, the Spanish sides, don't they? I mean, it's not just Seville that was won it. What do you reckon, Grant? Is it a fix?
Everything's a fix in favour of the big boys, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's all designed for the top teams that make the Champions League to then have a parachute into the next round, isn't it? At the end of the day, you could say basically, if you don't make the top 2 in the Champions League, that should be you finished with. You should be out of the competition, but they just give them that step down, don't they? So they can make more money, keep them sweet, isn't it? So it's always going to be that way, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I find it all very disappointing. Nigel, are we going to beat Sevilla?
Well, look, stranger things have happened at sea, and that's the way you got to approach it. We've got every chance we could go there, get a draw, and then we could, nick a win at home. Anything's possible. They are currently sitting second in the Spanish league.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, Betis, who also play in Seville, are sitting third, also in the Europa League, managed by Pellegrini. It's a strange thing. And, of course, Barcelona are sitting fourth, also in the Europa League.
Yeah.
In regards teams dropping down out the Champions League into the tournament, there's a part of me that thinks then why not then separate the tournament there, the Europa League, play the Champions League people in a set of games, play the Europa League people in a set of games, and the winner from then each set plays in the final. So we would have played, a quarter final against one of the other 8 group winners. Barcelona would have played their quarter final against whoever, out of the 8 that were unseeded, basically.
Yeah.
So on and so on, until at least then that guaranteed a non-Champions League team in the final. Because the way it pans out, you could have a team lost in the Champions League winning the UEFA Cup. Now, there is a strange anomaly this season that we've got 3 UEFA tournaments.
Yeah.
And some people, including me, spotted that a certain team in Scotland managed to get knocked out of all 3 tournaments. But they weren't the only team, actually, because a team we played also did the same. Austria Vienna fell out of the Champions League into the Europa League in the qualifying stage. I think they were seeded in our group.
Yeah.
Obviously finished third in our group. So then had to go into the UEFA Conference League, and they got knocked out as well last night. So they've been knocked out of all 3 European tournaments.
That's quite Spursy, really, isn't it?
Well, Spurs got knocked out. The worst European, lowest ranked European tournament, and they got knocked out of that. But so it's again, it makes you wonder: is it geared up for the champions, whoever, to these teams that were in the Champions League have now had 2 cracks at European competition. Something's not right there, in my opinion, in terms of keep having like the status of the competition respected.
It's really not right. And if you look at some of these draws, I mean, I think we're going to give Seville a game because if we play well, we're going to give them a game, right? But you look at some of these other draws here. I mean, you know, Rangers against Belgrade. I mean, that's a plum draw for Rangers, isn't it? You know, Braga against Monaco, Porto against Lyon. You know, that is, you know, when you look at some of these, they're going to be, you kind of know already who's going to be, apart from one or two, you know who's going to be in the last 8, don't you?
Well, there's a couple ties here. If you look, Porto Lyon, Champions League actually tie in reality. Barcelona Galatasaray. You know, that's a Champions League tie straight away. Even Atalanta Leverkusen have both recently played Champions League. It's a tough old UEFA Cup this year. You know, the days of when Middlesbrough and Fulham got to the finals, you know. It's not easy. But if you want to win it,
it's a grown-up competition, isn't it? It's a proper grown-up competition. And if you're going to win it, you've got to beat the best teams. The one thing I'll say is, if we can find a way to work our way past Sevilla, I don't think we've got anybody to fear in this competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting with Sevilla because obviously we know their pedigree in this cup, and obviously they're fighting for the league. You know, in Spain, they're sitting second. You could say that possibly could be a welcome distraction. That possibly could be if they continue. I think I'm not sure they're playing this weekend. I can't remember now. But if they get a result at the weekend, I mean, they haven't. I think they've drawn 4 of the last 5, so they're not flying at the minute, but they're still sitting second, right? If they get a good result this weekend, they continue to push for the title. You sort of wonder, will they prioritise? I mean, I know they've got a fantastic squad. We know some of the players they've got, but there could be an argument where, I mean, are they able to go for both? You know what I mean? It's interesting.
And they've got, it's actually, they're at home to Betis this weekend.
And Betis a third. Betis a third, aren't they? Is that right? Yeah. So big game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they haven't lost in the league since 28th of November. Their last loss was to Real Madrid, but they seem to be draw specialists at the minute. So we can go over there. If we can get a draw over there, we can bring them back, and we'll do them. We can knock them out easy.
Yeah,
in that sense. But we just can't go over there and get a 2-goal defeat. Basically, is what we got to avoid, isn't it? And then it's on.
I'll tell you what they do as well. Sorry, in Spain, I don't know if it's deliberate, but they're playing Friday night before they play the first leg with us as well. So they're going to have 5 days, you know, before. So they're playing against Alaves. So, and the thing about it is, though, it looks like they're nailed on for top 4, which is Champions League. There's 6 points though behind Real Madrid. So who are possibly too far away, but they are. I think there's 8 or 9 points in front of Barcelona, who are sitting 4th.
Yeah.
And 10 points in front of the people sitting 5th. So actually, they're probably nailed on for Champions League. So therefore, you're thinking they'll be happy with the position they are. They've got local pride to play for, but they'll be relaxed when it comes to. I always think you're better off playing at home now. I think it's reversed. I'd rather have had the home leg first and get something to take to Spain rather than, you know.
The away goals rule don't count anymore.
The away goals rule don't count anymore, does it? Yeah. I'm not sure with us at the minute. I think, you know, we always seem to be conceding not loads of goals, but you know, I'd rather see if we can get over there and then know what we've got to do in the return leg. There is a case that it could be over after the first time, but I genuinely don't believe it will be. They're gonna have a lot of the ball. You know, he sets them up. What's his name? The Peggy 2 or something? Peggy 2. He sets them up really strong. He sets them up really rigid and really sort of compact. I don't know. I prefer playing away from home first, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be an advantage to play away first because we are effectively the seeds going into this round of games, right? But when you look at our build up for it, we've got Liverpool on the Saturday the 5th of March at 5:30 in the evening, so a late kickoff, and then we've got the game on Thursday in Seville, and then on the Sunday we're at home to Villa. So Sunday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday. That is tough. And then after that Thursday game at home to Sevilla, we're away to Spurs. That is a bastard run.
It's what we wanted. It's what we want. No, it's what we want.
Yeah.
In years gone by, we'd always, before we got into Europe and that, we'd always say, how can these play? What are these people moaning about playing on a Thursday to Sunday? What difference does it make playing on a Wednesday, Saturday, or a Thursday, Sunday? We can't now go down that same road of moaning the schedule. We've got to embrace it somewhat. And it is going to be tough, you know. And I know. I mean, Rob said something interesting here. He's basically saying, do you think the players will go all out against Liverpool so that they don't get injured for the squad? It's a good point.
I think personally, going back to a conversation we had last week around prioritising cup competitions, I think Moyes should prioritise a cup competition. For us to get something out of Liverpool away, we've got to be right on our game with our best team, and Liverpool have got to be slightly off their game, right? So what do we do? I'm not talking about conceding, but why not play more of a squad team away against Liverpool? Yeah. I'm not talking about conceding and going and losing 5-0. I'm talking about make it tight for Liverpool, give a couple of kids their chance and stuff like that. You know, I think he's got to balance his squad. He cannot play the same team in 5 games, in these 5 games. All right, that's impossible, isn't it?
Well,
yeah. I mean, the thing about it depends on the way you look at it. One win in Liverpool since 1963.
Yeah.
You know, so you think if we put our best team out, what are we going to get?
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, you think, So
the defeat at Liverpool's almost a given. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what
I'm not disagreeing.
Look, you know, I mean, the day we beat them, you know, 3-0, I had Liverpool in my bet to win 3-0. I mean, that's how confident I was.
West Ham are so unreliable.
No, yeah, it's a fantastic day. Yeah, so... But
what would worry me was if we play too weak a side and we go up there and we get slapped like Leeds did the other night, and then you go into a game, with that knock on your confidence, because some of those, even if we play a reserve, the more of a reserve 11, some of them have got to play in the Europa League tie. So yeah, you kind of we ain't got many options anyway, so it's not heavily rotate, can we?
No, we haven't got a second 11 to put out. We haven't got a second. You know, there will be some players that play every one of those games, but I don't know. There are certain players who who the multiple games seems to affect more.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Like Antonio. Rice can play every single game. It seems it doesn't seem to affect him, does it?
You know. The thing is with Antonio, you mentioned him there. I'd imagine that many European teams, but Sevilla, obviously we're playing, they would probably have never come up against anybody like Antonio when he's on fire, right?
Yeah.
So there's a good argument for just not playing him against Liverpool at all and let him go in all guns blazing on the Thursday night. I think out of all the players there, we know he needs a rest. So, and I think he can have the biggest impact because they would not have come up against a player like that. I don't care what anyone says. You know, he's very raw still. He's very unorthodox. He's very off the cuff. Obviously, when he's on fire, we know he's not at a minute. So for someone like him, I think it's imperative that he would probably be not playing against Liverpool so he can go over there and maybe get back to something that we know he can be. You know what I mean?
We're forgetting one game as well. One important game. Middle of next week, we're going to Southampton in the FA Cup. Right, so that's before the Liverpool game. Yeah. So that's another tough one because they're on really good form at the moment. I'm playing Wolves and Southampton are 2 teams that we just don't seem to be able to beat at the moment.
We've got 8 games in March.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but you know, let's hope we're going to come to it after about the new master plan that David Moyes is going to implement. We don't know what it is, but we're going to make it up. Right. So anyway, on that happy note, I think
you moving on to stories, Gal?
Yeah, I think closing thoughts on this. I mean, you know, I think I'm quite happy. A lot of people were saying, I wish we drew Barcelona, right? I wasn't saying that personally. I was hoping we'd get like Braga or something like that, you know, so as we could get a relatively, no draw's easy, but I was hoping for a relatively easy draw. Turns out we've got something that's almost as difficult, maybe even more difficult than Barcelona. But if you're going to win one of these tournaments, you've got to beat these teams, haven't you?
At some stage, indeed.
Yeah.
Look, but at the end of the day, and this is the way I see it, I'd rather get knocked out by Seville than Braga.
Yeah.
And
good point,
I'd rather, you know, at the end of the day, Seville are a top Spanish team, and it's going to be fantastic, you know, for the kids, you know, to be able to go over to London Stadium and see Seville players play. And you know, and part of the experience, whet the appetite. And because I think one of the most important things about West Ham, we all talk about progression, but aside from league position, we got to keep playing in Europe. We got to keep playing, and it does mean the UEFA Cup. But technically, UEFA Cup is probably as big a tournament we're going to play in, at least probably for the next 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, if you consider that Newcastle are joining the mix with the money boys next season. So it's going to make it harder. So we should actually embrace the Europa League,
of course,
for all it is, and enjoy being in it rather than going, oh, I wish it was Rangers, because
it didn't take long after the draw to get the odd moany text message, did it? The way I am, like you said, I just look at it and go, brilliant. Oh, what brilliant? You know,
you got to beat 4 teams to win this trophy, don't you? So
yeah.
What's that, Grant?
Sorry, I was just saying you've got to beat 4 teams to win the trophy. So whether you play Sevilla now or you play them next round, the round after the final, it don't matter. You got to beat them if you want to be serious about it, don't it? So you got to take them all on and win, really, haven't you? So
I mean, I think the pressure's all on them as well, because the finals in Seville, they've won it 6 times. They clearly rate themselves. Everyone else rates them. Everyone thinks this is going to be a walkover against West Ham. I hope the pressure gets to them. The pressure of expectation gets to them a little bit.
I think I saw we're the 15th ranked team out of 16.
We are, yeah.
In that. And I think if you look at, you know, forget about the glory days of us in Europe. Let's look at what we all remember. Yeah. So, you know, 1999, 2000, we got knocked out by, well, we did the old Intertoto Cup and everything.
Yeah.
But then we played Osijek, Croatian, but then got done by Dinamo Bucharest, who were, you know, were no great, even though they're former European Cup winners, were not the Dinamo Bucharest that was any quality, really. So we got knocked out. Then we had the Palermo debacle where we lost out to them. And then, you know, we've had the even worse, you know, the 2 stabs the last season at Upton Park, first season at the London Stadium, where we couldn't even get past the qualifying rounds. You know, against, you know, I know Astra, you know, I keep wanting to call her Astra Gugu, but it's Astra Juju. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, they are a bleeding Romanian pub team. You know, they've been relegated now. So, you know, you know, the fact that we're about to play Sevilla for a place in the quarter final of the Europa League, fantastic. You know, this is what we've wanted.
Yeah. And that's exactly that. We've got no European pedigree, you know, for 40 years. So let's be honest about it. Let's be realistic about it. You're the man with all the history and the knowledge about West Ham from old. But, you know, it's true. We've got nothing to go off of. So we're going to be the lowest ranked or one of the lowest ranked there.
Yeah, modern time.
Modern times.
You know, you got to, you know, go back to 1976. We got to the funny thing is our first 3 European tournaments, we got to the final, the semi-final, and then the final again.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the first 3. But then after that, well, you could say the first 4, where we then got to the quarter final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good question. Important question. Who's going?
Yeah. Probably my mate.
John, you're going. Are you taking the black cab down there? Because the flights are a little bit expensive.
Yeah, I was looking. The flights are like £350, didn't they?
They literally flipped, didn't they? As soon as as soon as we got,
I'll tell you what you got to do. Bang. Yeah, and it worked for me. Believe me, in the past.
Gibraltar.
No, even and this is the thing. When I went to Palermo, I went via Rome and Milan. Yeah, but believe me, it saved me per person £250.
Wow,
per person. Now I did on the flight back bump into a bloke who, instead of spending, I had a week in Palermo and it was the shit. I could do a show about it for the things that happened. Believe me. Stayed in an hotel up a mountain with a courtesy bus that took you down the mountain, but the courtesy bus wouldn't pick you up.
What I was thinking though, I was thinking, John, you could. It's only 1,660 kilometers.
20 hours drive
from San Malo. So you get a ferry from Portsmouth to San Malo, and then down to Spain. You can fit a load of people in your cab. Cab or Seville.
Mate, I don't go south of the river, let alone south of Europe.
20 hours from London drive, non-stop.
How long?
20 hours.
20 hours.
You can get a ferry to Bilbao and drive down.
You've actually looked into it, yeah?
Yes, right. But this is the trick, because I on the flight back from Palermo, this bloke thought, when you thought, if I ever go to Europe, that's a brilliant idea. He took his wife to Venice.
Yeah.
So he had a 5-day holiday in Venice, and on the day of the game, paid a tenner and flew to Palermo.
Wow.
Now, to go to Venice, he'd only paid 200 quid for hotel and flights for the two of them.
Where'd you get a ferry to Bilbao, Nigel?
Ferry to Bilbao from Plymouth.
Oh, you can get it from Plymouth. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So
24
is that just
hours.
an overnighter?
Yeah, it's an overnighter.
Yeah.
Where do you live, Grant?
Near Oxford.
Is that near Plymouth?
Leicester.
No, the other way, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
M25. I don't wonder I am after M25.
Leicester. It's
M40,
like west.
Junction 9.
Yeah.
West. Yeah.
I wonder how they felt when they saw our name come out the hat. Do you think they, as a club, would be like easy, or what do you think they think? Interesting to know, wouldn't it?
God, the English.
I mean, I think they'll think, wow, that London stadium, that looks amazing. That's probably the greatest stadium we've ever played in. I'm sure the food and drink is reasonable price and good quality. And they'll be over the moon.
I'll wait for an £8 rotten hot dog.
Yeah.
Do you think
really good? They put
there's
you
a
close to
Spanish
the home
YouTube
supporters.
fan channel going?
Yeah.
They eat this pie and mash and jelly deals. He's again pictures of this pies with green shit on, going, what is that?
I know you're close to the away supporters, so you're going to see the cups of piss coming from the Spanish onto our supporters this time, aren't you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Very close. Very close. Very handy. Right, let's move on to news story number 2.
Just quickly go through some comments, Gal. Because we've got quite a few.
Go on then, let's go through some comments.
Right, Paul says, evening, all faults with Yarmo and Ukraine. Yeah, more
Definitely.
Football, of course there is.
Yeah.
Evening to Sean. Michael says, quote from Danny on our Facebook, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Obviously, that's in regards to playing Seville. Robert says, did you see that West Ham had a special mention as our first time in? What was that, on the draw, was it?
No, what'd they say? Yeah. Oh, was it definitely our first time in the last 16, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Michael reckons we'll win there and lose at home. Yeah, that's probably...
That's fine. Win out there 3-0, lose at home 2.
Yeah, exactly. Paul reckons they just need plenty of oranges at half time to keep going. Of course, yeah. Michael's bringing up the squad issues again. Michael, we're over that now. Nick's not here, Mike. Stop it. Jesus Christ.
That fucking Suchek. I've got to pretend to be Nick, and I keep forgetting.
No, he's coming in a minute, Nigel. We've worked out the reason he's running late is he's decided to go in on the Suchek negotiations. He's actually helping out on the contract of it all, you know.
No wonder he ain't signing.
No, he probably won't. If anything, the Europa League has been easier this year. We haven't experienced playing in the Eastern Europe and on a Thursday and then Premier League Sunday. Yeah,
True.
Exactly. Wanted.
I thought that when we qualified, I was like, oh, we could have some real bad Eastern European games. And then obviously, they then realised, we've got the Europa Conference and all the tough games were, all those tough away legs were in that. So, no, that's a good point.
Last time I looked, Croatia was in the Eastern Europe.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Azerbaijan, though, is it? And
no.
Those sort of places, but
Quick question
geography lesson, thank you.
Quick question about the European Conference League. How do you get in that? What do you have to? How do you qualify for that? I don't even know.
Well, it was 7th for us, wasn't it?
Right.
Our Spurs.
Yeah.
Do you
know officially what you got to do? Officially to
be crap.
No, win the League Cup.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right.
Is that Conference League now?
That is the only place.
I didn't realise that was downgraded to Conference League. I didn't realise.
But obviously, because even this weekend we've got Chelsea and Liverpool fighting it out, So now 7th spot will be.
Oh yeah, because both of them are in Champions League already.
Both of them are in Champions League already.
Yeah.
So, but officially, the League Cup winners get the conference spot.
Freshfielder says fly to a random city like Amsterdam and get connected.
Yeah,
pretty
that is the way. I've looked. If you go to Tenerife, spend a day in Tenerife, you can fly to Seville and back for, I think it was €40.
Wow.
That'd be brilliant. Do a bit of karaoke in Tenerife.
I'm not sure what Len's up to. He says take your continental gran. My man's not continental. Surely take your continental grand tours into Europe.
Grand tours are
it's a vehicle, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
Not like a mobile home type thing.
Like Meet the Fockers type sort of scenario, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Faro. Or it's a 2-hour train ride from Malaga, I think, or Marbella, something like that.
And the last one before Gary moves on, Nigel, you need some geography lessons.
Croatia, no, I know where it is. Croatia's over by the Adriatic. It's obviously part of the old
Yugoslavia, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and the last time I looked, that was in Eastern Europe. When I was
James is gonna get you a map, and I do know that the job that Grant does, he probably knows more than most who's classed as. You know, we won't say what he does.
I'll call that Eastern Europe because it was behind the Iron Curtain, mate. So,
Talking of the Iron Curtain, we're going to move on to story number 2, which is now you might think I've written this or I'm going to talk about this just to have a dig at Chelsea, and if you think that, you're probably right. as we know, Roman Abramovich is a Russian oligarch who has used a small amount of his shady fortune to buy loads of titles and trophies for Chelsea. Let's face it, before he arrived, they were a bit too bob. They were the plaything of Master Bates, the man who wanted to install electrified fences to keep his own fans in order. They were a basket case of a club. As we've seen with Man City, and we'll see soon with Newcastle, mindless spending of dirty money on a football team can buy you a whole new level of respectability. It's called sports washing, where someone with huge personal wealth can use that money to reinvent themselves as a glamorous, generous, benevolent, a benefactor, just doing their best to honourably help grow a traditional English football club. Like fuck. Abramovich bought Chelsea in June 2003. And since then, he's invested more than £1 billion of his own cash, in quotes, in order to purchase a new history for Chelsea. Before he arrived, Chelsea's major honours were 1 league title, 3 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, 2 Cup Winners' Cups. So 8 trophies in their entire history. Only 4 more than us, In the 19 years since Abramovich arrived, they've added 5 league titles, 2 Champions Leagues, 2 Europa Leagues, 5 FA Cups, 3 more League Cups. If you add in the 2 Charity Shield and the Club World Cup, that's 20 trophies in 19 years.
Jesus.
So with renewed focus on Russian oligarchs' wealth swirling around in London and Boris Johnson accidentally naming Abramovich as if he was already under sanctions, we might assume that he soon will be. Apparently, he's not allowed to live here again. I don't know when that came about. Should this happen anyway? Should this happen and should his assets get frozen? Hopefully, one of those assets will be Chelsea. And perhaps Dec's favourite destination will be off the table once and for all. And I'm sure Dec loves Chelsea, got no doubt about that. But all the time he's been growing up, all the time he's been alive since age 3. That was when Abramovich arrived. He's only ever known one Chelsea, the kind of rich, carefree, money, no object version. He probably doesn't realise that they were just a shit West Ham once. But anyway, back on topic. Are we about to see the first giant club struggle? Perhaps one of the frozen assets, if Chelsea gets frozen, I've heard it said today, actually, that, they're going to freeze all his assets apart from Romelu Lukaku. Would the end of Abramovich in the UK mean the demise of Chelsea? So that's a tough question. I mean, I hope the answer is yes. I'm going to pass that to you, Grant.
Yeah, so he has given Chelsea PLC, the company Chelsea PLC, I think it's 1.41 billion in his time. That's basically what he's given the club. But he's paid them that through a secondary company who he's paid through another company, which is registered both in the British Virgin Isles and in Jersey. So it's there's three links into that. So I'll be interested to see how they are going to slow his money down. But you know, he owns quite a bit of property in London as well, doesn't he? But he isn't allowed in the country. He's not been allowed in the country for a while, has he? There's
right.
questions over because he got himself.
Isn't it?
Yeah, he got himself an Israeli passport, didn't he? And then they're questioning whether he's got a legit passport. So, you like to think that somebody is, you know, and obviously he says he's got no links to Putin, even though he was on stage with Putin when they secured the 2018 World Cup. Yeah. And he's been bankrolling the Russian FA as a favour to his mate Putin for quite a number of years now. So, no links at all. But there's no links to the Tory party from any oligarchs either. So that's all right.
Right.
So,
that's right.
You know. But hey, I imagine somebody who's as shady and suddenly wealthy as he became and all his links and everything, I got to imagine his money's pretty untouchable. I got to figure, you know, you can't really touch him. But of course, there's also suggestions that Boris has given them all time to get their money moved before we impose sanctions on all that as well. So
that did come out today. Sadly, they've started calling out that there are some. Their lawyers, the oligarchs' lawyers, they've got armies and armies of very expensive lawyers, are putting legal obstacles in the way, which mean that the sanctions are going to be delayed. Right. So that's my take on it as well. They're giving them time to move their assets. But there you go. What do you reckon, Nigel?
I think. Sorry, I was just going to say one other thing. I was going to say was, in terms of Chelsea's finances as well, with that new UEFA rule coming in about the amount of players you can loan out and the number of players they have on the books on loan, in theory, Chelsea are going to be forced to sell players anyway. And so they'll be generating...
Sorry, I didn't know about this. Is this a new rule? Is this going to stop the battery farm?
Yes. Each season, there's going to be a reduction in the number of players that you can have out on loan from the parent club.
I love that. So, it's about time, because they've been taking the piss. They've been hoovering up all of these young players and loaning them out at a great profit to other clubs. Man City are lining themselves up to do the same thing, and Newcastle in building. I think Nick mentioned it the other day. They're building a fucking great big academy as well that they're going to start. They envisage doing the same thing. So that is great news. When was that announced?
That was that was announced. I think that was last month, wasn't it? It was only recently, but it comes into effect from next season. So I mean, and that's why
what's the restriction? What's the restriction?
It's I can't remember. It's a certain number of players each season. But yeah, and then it decreases. There's going to be a final number, but they're given time to get it sorted. Which is why City have set up clubs in multiple countries. Yeah, because then you can have all your players being registered at said club in another country and not being out on loan. So that's probably what we'll see everybody else will now try and do and start creating their own secondary clubs as well. But
so they found a loophole already then.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, that plays into perhaps the idea of the group, the Saudi group that have bought Newcastle.
They want Inter Milan, don't they?
Yeah. So perhaps Newcastle will be Inter's feeder club. Yeah, we'll see. What do you reckon, Nigel?
I mean, if you look at the prize money that Chelsea generates from the Premier League, from playing in Europe, tournaments, sponsorship, everything, they're not far off being self-sufficient at the moment. So a lot of Abramovich's money has got them to the situation that they're at. And I'm not sure how much he's been putting in recently, specifically since he was banned from the country.
Yeah.
I know he had a property in Eaton Square, a very nice property. Having stood in it at one point when it was being refitted.
Did you know it was injured at the time?
Well, we knew it was a certain person. I mean, I'm going back 16, 17 years now. So it was just across the square from Maggie Thatcher, funny enough.
Wow.
No, I thought if it's the same place, because another cabbie said it to me about 3 years ago. He said that's Abramovich's place.
As you come from the back of Buckingham Palace down towards Eaton Square and towards Sloane Square, it was on the right.
Yeah. The same place, and whether he's still there
probably is. So Thatcher used to live on the left. In regards to Chelsea, the funny thing about Abramovich buying Chelsea and the money they spent was it actually saved a certain other London football club after they'd been relegated from a certain financial meltdown.
Yeah.
And he did that by purchasing a couple of their players at quite a good price, we could imagine at the time.
Lampard was 11 million, wasn't it?
Well, no, Lampard predated. Lampard was Bates, but I'm thinking Glenn Johnson and Joe Cole were the two that when he bought Chelsea, that they walked in, we got relegated, and they stepped in. And it was an unsaid secret. West Ham were going around saying, oh, we ain't got no financial difficulties to the fans. Well, behind our backs, actually, if we didn't sell these players, we were in a shitload of trouble.
Yeah.
And that actually got the club out of a shitload of trouble. So, on top of selling Canuti to Tottenham as well at the same time.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, funny enough, Abramovich's money sort of did us a favour. Yeah, in a weird certain sense. When you look back to it, Chelsea winning the title at the time was a bit of fresh air because we'd had Arsenal and Man United dominating, and here was a new boy to come and stick it to them. But now it's got a bit boring with them, especially the fact is that they've probably had 20 managers in that time, and they can still win trophies. You know, everything. Normally they say is that, the less managers you have, the more you win. Well, we've had 17 managers in our history and we've won virtually fuck all, really.
A hypothetical situation, though, right? And to you, John, a hypothetical situation had, say for instance, the worst for Abramovich does happen and his assets get frozen and Chelsea are suddenly in shit street. Do you think that there's another... Do you think that Chelsea can maintain this kind of level of prestige without someone to throw money at? Or do you think there's going to be another owner just waiting in the wings to come in? I
think the days of owners like Abramovich, like I said the other week, there's not many clubs that are owned by somebody like that. What he did when he initially came in, when he did bankroll the club and he threw money at it.
Yeah.
Now. We've got it with Kretinsky. You've got it with other clubs where they are businessmen first and foremost. And although Abramovich is a businessman, we do know that he's a businessman who's got a bit of a shady past. So he threw his money at it, in my mind, to clean the money up quicker than he could have ever done anywhere else to some degree. Yeah. And as Nigel quite rightly says, because they are becoming closer and closer to becoming self-sufficient, they probably don't need the bankrolling as much as they did back then anyway. So there probably is people out there that maybe possibly could do it, but I don't think you're going to get that sort of factor that Abramovich brought to the party, the money that he brought along. And until you read out the amount of trophies that he won since he's been in charge or since he's owned the club, it's unbelievable, really. I mean, 20 trophies in 19 years, that is unbelievable. You sort of know, but until someone breaks it down, you sort of think, bloody hell.
That's what that kind of money buys you. And it's happened for Man City as well. And it will happen for Newcastle. It's just buying trophies. Do they really count as much as the trophy as the 8 that they won beforehand? I mean, to my mind, they don't really.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Monopoly and owning all the hotels.
But can I ask you a question then?
Go on.
If Abramovich would have come in and bought West Ham, would we have been questioning the trophies that we won?
Well, look, it's a very...
Are Newcastle fans questioning their regime?
No, but football fans are.
Yeah.
Look,
would we have questioned the Saudis if they'd have bought us?
No.
I would have.
I think a section, I think.
Well, you'd question them, but you wouldn't. What can you do about it if you wanted to do anything about it?
I said at the time, had the Saudis taken over our club, that probably would have been the only reason that I'd walk away from West Ham. Yeah, it's just.
I was upset when the Icelandics bought us.
Yeah.
Because it ended 106 years of ownership.
Were you more of a farm foods man?
No, B James, mate. I'll tell you, you'd have to have lived local to know that what was before Iceland's, it was B James. A load of my mates used to work in them. But no, we were owned for 106 years by local people. Ate them, as a lot of people did, but still, they were the same people that had always owned the club. And they did have the club at art, and the Icelandics turned up. And in true West Ham fashion, became the biggest bankrupts in banking history.
Couldn't make it up, could you?
You couldn't make it up.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
But
we've got the only bankrupt
Kretinsky also got his fingers in Russian business as well.
He does, actually. He does.
Yeah,
could we be seeing another fucking Icelandic situation? Thank you for bringing that up, Nigel.
No,
it's like we get
it's
ourselves
amazing what I learned yesterday on WhatsApp.
Another billionaire, and he fucking goes bankrupt as well. What are we? We're fucking Jonah.
Oh dear.
Sully comes out and says, "Don't worry, I'll save you, lads. It's all right."
Yeah. That's it. But that is, I don't know. It's an interesting situation. I would, obviously, I'd love Chelsea to just fucking die on their ass. But I think the best thing that's come out of a little conversation, I think, Grant, is that little snippet that you threw in there, that little about the loan system, because that is one of the things I absolutely hate, I despise about modern football. The fact that they can sweep up all this talent and loan it out. It's not right.
It's not that. Do you think that actually it should be that you can't loan the clubs in the same league as you?
Definitely.
That I'm not. If they've got 20 kids or whatever, and they want to loan them out, that's up to them. And the weird thing is, it would have. Last season we were able to get Lingard in, and we've been big users of the loan system, haven't we? But I do believe that if you're a Premier League club, you shouldn't be able to loan.
Why do you think that?
I'll tell you why. I think it all stems down to the 2 games that you play against the parent club. Those players are not entitled to play. Now, if you look at Crystal Palace, their best player is possibly Conor Gallagher. Who's on loan from Chelsea. Well, guess what? He ain't going to play against Chelsea, is he? So that's 2 games. So you think that in a way helps Chelsea out,
Yeah, did on Saturday, didn't it? Yeah.
No,
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, imagine if Conor Gallagher had been playing against Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, at least that should be allowed, right? If you're loaning a player out, they should be allowed to play against you as well as everybody else.
Well, it's inherent. Well, because I find that strange, because what you're not doing is, what you're actually doing is you're helping the parent club. You're not hindering them by saying that player can't play. Yeah,
well, it's a form of match fixing if you think about it, right?
But what happens if one of your players fouls him and we get a Dean Ashton situation? Because there has to be some liability with the club that he's on loan to, isn't there?
Maybe,
and if your player injures your player, even though he's on loan at another club, is it a liability issue? I don't know. Or is it just a competitive issue?
But I think what it is once you loan the player, the registration for that season is with the club that he's playing for, not with the parent club. So obviously then the insurance thing goes to the people that have registered the footballer.
Yeah.
So the registration moves over. It's just he's owned by the parent club, but he's registered to play for only that club until he's sent back. Then he would have to be deregistered and registered back with the parent club.
It doesn't work. It's like that situation where you sell a player to a club and then you agree. There's a gentleman's agreement that player can't play against you in the next game or something like that, right? So it's slightly different, but it's the same sort of thing. Shouldn't be allowed.
That did happen in 2006. I don't know who it was. There was one of the. I don't know if it was a Fulham game or something, and they didn't play. And I think it was Fulham had a player on loan and didn't play him against the parent club, or someone had, and Fulham won. And it was just a strange thing.
Yeah. So, John, take us through the comments on that one. We'll go to the last story.
Yeah, of course. So Sean says that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will buy them, as in buy Chelsea. He also confirms that Abramovich is now an Israeli citizen. Nick must have had a few sherbets because he's just shouting random things out in the chat. Probably on a train or something. James says Abramovich got himself an Israeli passport to skirt around the eviction. Yeah. So in regards to what will happen to Chelsea, Paul reckons they'll just be bankrupt. Rob, in response to what Grant was saying about the British Virgin Islands and that, nothing dodgy there then. No, not at all. I would love them to go to shit. You know, I think he turned down a 1.9 million bid from Ratcliffe already. Did he? Interesting. Wants more money then, does he?
What Middle Eastern country does not own a football club?
There must be one.
Kuwait got one.
No, Kuwait.
Probably.
Perhaps the Kuwait. Perhaps the Kuwaiti fund would buy Chelsea.
I don't think the UAE. I don't think UAE have one, do they?
Maybe,
yeah,
not this country, but maybe somewhere else.
Was it the Emirates? It's Dubai. Who else?
Who owns? One of them owns
Paris
Saint-Germain, isn't it? So
that's Qatar, isn't it?
Oh, is it Qatar? Was it?
Yeah.
What makes up the UAE? It's Dubai and who else? Who else?
Qatar.
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
Bahrain.
Whoever came back about Croatia being in Central Europe, he'll tell us because he's a geography expert.
He's got his map out already.
He's a know-all.
Abu Dhabi, Man City, Sean Freshfielder.
Abu Dhabi. Yeah, there you go.
won't just be Chelsea, Everton, and Arsenal too.
Arsenal haven't got any Russian money.
That's true, actually. Arsenal have got an oligarch.
No, that's that's linked to Everton now because Kroenke bought him out, didn't he? I thought Kroenke had full control.
Yeah. He only owns a small percentage. Usmanov, it's a weird thing because Usmanov, I believe, still got a small percentage of Arsenal. Tried to buy more, but the Kroenke's held him off. And then I wonder if Arsenal fans celebrated the Rams winning the Super Bowl.
Definitely.
I think it should be a new
Kroenke
rule.
finally got his hands on a trophy. But anyway, I'll have to try that out on my Arsenal fans. I just thought about that. But of course, Usmanov's really big mate is Mashiri, who at one point was at Arsenal with Usmanov, and then turned up as the mystery benefactor of Everton, buying I think 75% of it. But the weird thing about Mashiri was personally never had the money, so it's possible he was bankrolled by Usmanov.
Oh. So he just bought more as well, didn't he, Mashiri? He just bought another to wipe out some of the debts, didn't he? He converted debts, the money owed to him, and wrote it off into.
The thing is that, let's be honest about it, most Premier League clubs have got dirty money there somewhere along the line, whether it be Russian money, Chinese money, or pornographic, owners' money. It sort of all comes, a lot of it, not all, but a lot of it comes from ill-gotten gains to some degree, really.
So how else do you become a billionaire?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So we can all preach and all that, and I think Gary's right with the Newcastle owners. That's the one thing where a lot of fans would be generally quite, against it to some degree. But most of the clubs have owners that have earned their money somehow,
I think largely, though, we have taken a dim view of our owners the way they made their money, haven't we?
Well, I wasn't taking a dim view of it when I was 18.
Oh, the funny thing, listen, as someone that used to carry out work on Dave's shop.
Sorry?
And the securities warehouses and everything, it's a bit hard.
A bit hard, yeah. Getting back to that,
yeah. So it's but the funny thing about you got to look at it is that that's how they started their business. That ain't how they made their money. Yeah, where they were clever is they bought their shops, but they bought
they made their money in property.
When they were worthless, and all of a sudden, I think even recently, I think Gold admits to making the biggest sale when he became a millionaire was when he sold a property that was next to the Astoria that was going to be bought by London Underground, so they could build the new Tottenham Court Road station, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
for Crossrail.
Yeah.
All right. So, any more comments, John, before we move to the?
Yeah, just a few more. I think Nick's been propositioned on the train by a lady tonight. He reckons Nigel hates biscuits, obviously to do with the Iceland reference. West Ham Minds channel, Jazz says, evening, gentlemen.
Evening, Jazz.
Good evening, Jazz. Nigel, we love you, apparently, according to Jazz. You obviously hadn't met him enough. A few more.
We've had a drink together. Don't worry.
Oh, well, yeah, but he's only met you a couple of times. You know, the novelty wears off. Where are we? A couple more. Would you like
Hold
to
on, I just got to book that restaurant in Hornchurch tomorrow.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, so we can play that game.
Would you like to go back to one transfer window? 100% I would.
Yes.
Well, the January one's pointless, isn't it? So
I'd like to have no transfer
we have got one window, haven't we?
yeah,
I'd like to have no transfer windows. I'd just like
have
it
a
to be a
disappointing summer,
free-for-all.
and that's it.
I'd like to be a free-for-all up until March, like it used to be. Just sign people when you like.
No, I'd like you.
What's
You
this?
can only sign kids from 3 miles from where you are. That's it.
Oh, is that it? You're
That's
going
it.
one step further.
Just 3 miles. You're only allowed to have kids from 3 miles. That's it.
Did you see? Did
I'd
you see
support
that today?
I'd support
Did you
that.
see that today? That Snodgrass signed for Luton.
Yeah. And Mike was calling, Mike Brennan in the Facebook page was calling for Luton to be our second team on Claret and Booze.
No way.
Fuck off,
No
Mike.
chance.
Ain't
Mike.
happening.
Well, do
No
you know
chance.
though that of course I know that Dan Potts was at Luton. Marit Stetch, our old goalkeeper, was at Luton. Moncur was at Luton, but has moved on, I believe. There was
there?
about
What was
Pelly
Potts
Umpenza,
Yeah.
who was a under-21 player for us. I think he's still at Luton. At one point, they had about 4 of our ex-under-21 players.
Nigel, I am still scarred by that time when Stevie
mate.
Potts stood on the ball and
Yeah.
Scott Oakes run through.
Scott Oakes,
I can't like
Yeah.
I can't like Luton. I can't like him.
I've just seen Sean's last message in reference to why he brought up Snodgrass. I thought he was talking. That's the gentleman's agreement that you're probably alluding to. He's talking about, is it? Snodgrass mentioned with the gentleman's agreement thing.
Yeah.
Might well have been. Right, that's all. Most of the comments there, Gal.
So let's move on to another fun one, which is something big going down at West Ham. So as we know, recent form of West Ham's not been so good, and what with Zoomagate and everything else, it's all been a bit doom and gloom, isn't it? We forgot about that. We haven't mentioned Cats today. So it was good to see this week. Ben Johnson agreed a new 2-year extension with the club. or did he? Or did he? It looks like we just took our option on him. So it was like a unilateral agreement. We decided that Ben Johnson was going to stay for 2 years. This follows a 1-year extension for Lucas Fabianski, joining the out-of-form Vladimir Sufal, who's just had an operation, who recently signed a contract extension, alongside the failed contract extensions of Declan Rice and the ongoing rumours that we're trying to get Jared Bowen to sign a new deal. Thomas Souček, this is why Nick is late tonight. He's been involved in the Thomas Souček negotiations. He's said to be in discussions for a new deal at the moment.
But they've not gone well.
No, West Ham apparently offered him a $5,000 a week prize, and it was dismissed by his agent as derisory and insulting, and so that's not looking too good. But and here's the point: Thomas Souček alluded to something in an interview this week. He said David Moyes has been trying something new in training, what he called a big change. So look, very simple question: what's that big change? Should we get excited? Nigel, over to you.
The only thing I can think of is it's a change of formation. I can't see, and perhaps he will go back to, because we did use it quite well under him, with the wing backs having 3 at the back. The funny thing I would say is when it worked well, it was with Creswell tucked in and Masuaku outside him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We get conflicting stories that Masuaku's out, but he could be back. I don't know what the case is there.
He's got a floating bone, hasn't he, in his knee?
Is he?
It's like a reoccurring injury. He can play with it at times, and then
was it like a bit of shrapnel? It moves.
I think
it's
so.
Like,
Yeah.
Did he said something that may have been deemed very wrong? So luckily, I just stopped myself.
Yes, Nigel, self-discipline.
With, jungle warfare and whatever. But anyway, I won't go there. I just paused myself. So anyway, yes, I think it will revert to 3 at the back. Go try it with wing backs, maybe, and maybe go with 2 up front. I did my Team 11 app where I did think, could he not play Bowen and Antonio up front?
Yeah.
You
know what he could do as well. I know this seems a bit funny, right?
Yeah.
But he could play Jared Bowen, the left footer, on the left, and Antonio, the right footer, on the right.
Wow.
I would love that. I know it's innovative. It's innovative, right? It's a new idea.
Wow.
I would really like that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. What do you reckon, Grunt?
It's either a formation. That was my first thought, but then I wondered whether he'd hired a translator, and then he got somebody that's translated it all into English so that everyone could understand him. Kind of get his tactics and everything across.
Give him a call, get him in, Grant, for Christ's sake, so I'm struggling this.
What else is it going to be? I don't. He's not going to suddenly unveil the signing that he kept secret from January. It's just kind of, we signed him. It was all done, but we just kept it out of the press this long, and he's miraculously turned up. It's probably not going to be that. So
imagine that. Imagine if he kept it out of the press, the signing out of the press. It kept everybody quiet, the agents, the player, everything, and he's suddenly going to announce the signing on Sunday. That is a great idea.
Diego Costa. Diego
Costa, yeah. I'd like to welcome Diego to Rush Green. What do you reckon, John?
I don't know. I just think it's going to be. It's probably not even that big. It's probably been built up now. But in regards to Bowen playing up front, I don't think he looks comfortable with his back to goal. I know everyone says he can do it, but I don't think he looks right playing with his back to goal. Like, if you're used to facing the goal you're attacking and all of a sudden you're playing with your back to goal, I think you look quite awkward. And sometimes, let's be honest, Antonio does, but he got away with it for a couple of years. But yeah, I'm not sure. I would just like it to be, if I'm honest with you, I would like it to be a change in personnel, maybe a change in formation. But I genuinely, because of his stubbornness, I suppose, if you like, I can't see it. Maybe it's Nick's favourite subject. Maybe he's told Rice to hold and Souček to be an attacking midfielder. But we can get away with that now because Nick's not on yet. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm with Nigel on playing Bowen and Antonio as a front two. And I'm also what I'd like to see at the back five. I don't know who we're going to play as the wing backs. I mean, I can guess, but I don't know who we're going to play as the wing backs. I think the middle three pick themselves. I think what I'd like to see is especially against Wolves, I'd like to see a bit more solidity. So this will annoy Nick. I don't want to see Declan Rice go forward. I also don't want to see Thomas Souček go forward. I want to see them both hold, and I want to see that free up the wing backs and whoever's in the middle. So that would be, it won't be Lanzini, it might be Ben Rama, might be Vlasic, who's going to be, when we're defending, he's going to make up the three in the midfield. When we're attacking, he's going to be playing behind the front two, right? I want those front attacking players freed up to do their job. So I think we've got to be solid, have a solid base defensively to do that. And so that's what I'd like to see. I know that Rice pushes us up the pitch, Nick. I know that. So him and Souček, get them to hold, because them two in front of a back three, I think would be almost impregnable.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Nope.
Go on.
Right. Fucking hell, Gal. You were going to roll the Rice back. He's our best fucking player going forward, and you want him to stay back. It's Souček that's the fucking problem, not Declan Rice. We need to fuck him off out of the club.
You've got to throw the word incandescent in.
Incandescent, that was, sorry. That was my impression of Alvin.
Yeah. But that's what I would do. I would have both of them fucking holding in front of those centre three. And, I don't want to see Wolves run us ragged and Southampton run us ragged and go and play in Seville and see them run us ragged. I want to see a solid base, and I want to see our attacking players free to play with a bit of flair, knowing that they don't have to worry necessarily about the defensive duties so much, right? That's what I'm thinking.
In the summer, right, we signed this player who made his name by sitting in front of a back four and moving side to side and covering every position and having rapid amount of yards. Yeah. And all he ever did was broke up play, won the ball, laid it off No, wasn't asked to do anything else. That was all he was asked to do. Made his name, and then in his national side as well, for his club side and national side.
What's his name?
So we signed him. We thought, Sideshow Bob.
Crow. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what.
If we ignore him, we might go away.
That's how he made his name.
Evening, Nick.
The thing
when he's talking bollocks again.
Yeah.
The thing is with the whole Crow thing, Grant, is none of us can say if he's a good player or not because we've not seen him play.
No.
I just genuinely, I don't know what to say about the geezer, you know. But I'd like to see. There's a little bit of me that would like to see Antonio back on the right wing a little bit and just going back to that side of things. But obviously, that's not.
You could play Vlasic through the middle, who said repeatedly that his favoured position is through the middle. And when you watch him, he's much better at receiving the ball with his back to goal than he is chasing it down the left wing.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. I'd love to see that.
He has to play out on the left.
I think I'm there with that. Keeping Declan Rice sitting, I'm not saying to wind him up, but actually, when you look at the setup, if you played a 3-5-2, you would want Declan Rice to sit back.
Nick, what do you think the big change is, Nick?
I was trying to go backstage to swear. I didn't want to swear at Nigel, that's all.
What's the big change, Nick? What's the big change, Nick?
The big change, we're going to have 3 goalkeepers on the bench rather than 2. Fuck knows. Look, he's got to change something, isn't he? But I don't know. Who knows?
What do you reckon, though, about this concept of having both Rice and Souček sitting?
No, because look, in an ideal world, you would. No. If we was creating stuff, you would do that because Declan Rice is the best holding midfielder in I think one of the best in the world. But
what I'm thinking is
we ain't got anything going forward. We ain't got.
No, but what I'm thinking is, Nick, hear me out. What I'm thinking is,
Gary, you want Rice and Souček sitting deep. How does the ball get from defence to fucking attack?
Did you see Diop's pass against Leicester, Nick?
No, but how does it get there? How does the ball get from defence to attack if Rice and Souček are in the middle and they're just sitting there?
Vlasic takes it. Vlasic takes it.
I'll tell you what, Nick, they wouldn't send you in for peacekeeping talks with Putin, would they?
No. You make a good point, and they are. Look, Rice and Souček, they are together when we're playing against good teams. They are almost impregnable. You set them in front of your back four, but the issue that we've got is, I just don't think we've got enough in the attacking third now.
Nick, who's making that noise? Where's that noise coming from?
France pouring a beer.
Right. What my concept is, Nick, to free up the forward players to do what forward players are supposed to do, and not worry about defending.
Go on. Not worry about. Yeah. There is that because. Well, look, we all know what Moyes is going to do. I don't know how he's going to do it, but you'll see later on. Everyone knows Wolves plays with a back three. He's going to go with a back three, and the big issue here is Masuaku's not available. I know of some people are saying he is, others are saying he ain't, but that means we ain't got no natural left wing back. So I'm not too sure what he's going to do there. It's probably going to be Johnson on the left, Fredericks on the right.
Yeah, sprinting just. Gone.
Yeah, but the good thing is when you play, I mean, Fredericks going forwards, all right. I think
he can put. Sometimes I think we could almost play him in front of a right back, couldn't we?
As a wing back, he's all right. Fredericks as a wing back, he's all right. But if he's the last man standing as a defender, he's no fucking good.
But if you've got Fredericks and Johnson doing that, then I'm afraid you are going to need Rice and
exactly
and Souček to actually drop in to create almost like a bank of 5 central defenders.
I love a 5 at the back. I love a 7 at the back, Nigel. I love a 7 at the back, and that's what it would turn into, isn't it?
But the issue is where's the creativity come from? Because it's all about scoring goals. So where are your goals going to come from? Because
Fornals,
Vlasic,
Rama,
Fornals, yeah, exactly.
Are we dropping Antonio for this game?
No, Bowen and Antonio playing up front in a front two. Bowen on the left, Antonio on the right.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, do you remember when we played away against Chelsea and they in the second half they got closer together? And I think they'll both benefit from that. The only issue thing is when you play like the way Bowen plays, he ain't a winger, is he? He's an inside forward. He don't run down the right and whip crosses in, does he?
No.
He tucks
No,
in.
but
he's left-footed.
And also,
but it's the way that he plays, Nigel. He's played so that he tucks inside. He ain't played to be a winger. That's what I mean.
No, he was bought to cut in on his left and score because that's what he did at Hull.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's not. He's also not naturally good at playing with his back to goal, Nick, either. So you can't play him as a striker.
No.
I think he looks unnatural when I've seen him do it.
You could, but he couldn't. He's not. You wouldn't play him up front on his own. And I think that's the thing. If he played as a 2, he would be. If you imagine it, it would be like when Swindlehurst had Tony Cottee next to him. Yeah, Swindlehurst would get the ball and he could lay it off. The big man, up front, the sort of David Cross, Paul Goddard, for those that are old enough to remember it. And in a way, I suppose Hartson and Kitson.
Now we're talking.
Was the more Bowen style player. Yeah, and Hartson was the big bloke that would bring the ball down and could play with his back to the goal.
I think you're right, but I think Antonio would feel. I just think he's probably thoroughly isolated the way he's playing at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really got the ability to sort of pick incisive passes and stuff like that. So you've got to get close to him. You've got to try and make his life a bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We all looked last week, didn't we? He has got options in that squad, but he ain't got loads of options, has he? He ain't got loads. So I don't know what the big change is. I mean, if Souček's all excited, all I can imagine is that fucking Rice has been sold. Has been sold to fucking going goal or something.
Right. So look, John, take us through a few comments, John, before we move on to the best manager ever.
So Paul has said the big news is Diop is going to play as a striker. Paul Evans says he's probably just going to put Areola in goal.
Yeah.
Nick's moonlighting. Big change. Moyes is sitting in a different seat. Rob wants a 4-1-3-2 formation.
Is that score predictions?
We brought this up the other week, didn't we? And James remembered it. Wasn't that changed the new coffee machine? Yeah, probably pretty much it. Common theme, Dawson up front. God, Russ reckons you look different, Nick. He's had a few drinks. Hasn't he?
I've had a few drinks, Russ.
But why is he asking God if Nick looks different?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's a born again Christian like John Moncur, isn't he? Rob's gone 3 at the back. Antonio with full nails and Bowen just behind. Vlasic false 9. Mickey on the bench. A lot of people are going to be saying.
I'd be all right with that.
Wouldn't you like to see Vlasic played central just to
I would love
yes.
But apart from him telling you that it's his favourite position, where have we seen him do this?
We haven't.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'll tell you what I'd like to see, right? I'd like to see Vlasic given a chance, but not to say this is your only chance, Vlasic. He's got to say, Vlasic, you're going to play in this position for the next 3 or 4 games. You got to make it your own. Because if it's all down to this is last chance saloon, get out there, impress me, that's not going to work, is it? You know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question, though? We all like Vlasic. We all hope it's going to come good. But as an attacking player, you need to have something exceptional about your game in the top flight. You've either got to be exceptionally quick, exceptionally strong, exceptionally skillful. Has he got any of those things from what you've seen?
Well,
he's got the hardest
exceptionally
shot.
Strong. Exceptionally strong.
Hardest shot
since Mido or something. Yeah.
Since what?
So Mido.
Right.
Mido, yeah.
So what was the one thing that Lingard was allowed to get away with that none of the other forwards are allowed to get away with under Moyes?
He could do that.
He didn't defend.
Apart from that, yeah.
DJ Rusty B wants Antonio to pop his hamstring. Look.
What?
On his comment, look, Antonio back to his true position, right wing back
in the treatment room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right wing back. Yeah.
Well,
that's what mate.
Well, everyone wants Vlasic to play in his preferred position, but Antonio,
the thing is, right. If you got why would you not play a player in their preferred position? Why would you stick them out on the left wing?
And that's my point. Why did we sign Vlasic?
Do you know?
We panicked and couldn't get Lingard, so we went, let's get a Lingard light.
I do agree with that.
And then we looked at this guy who was doing it in Russia, and that's exactly how he played. He played as a 10
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, because I watched the clips of him and I said this, right? He was picking up the ball from deep and he was running with it and he was laying it off. He was doing exactly the same thing that Lingard was doing in the show reels that I saw of Vlasic. Now we fucking bought him and stuck him out on the left wing.
Well, look, the trouble is, Gary,
he got moist.
But we've got loads of number 10s. No, but we've got loads of number 10s. Ben Rama is a 10. Lanzini is a 10. Fornals is a 10. Vlasic is a 10. I mean, a winger. See, the thing is, I think Bowen could play as a natural winger on the left-hand side. Yeah. I know he's scoring goals at the moment, but he's got the ability to beat a man and get a cross in. So I wouldn't mind every now and then, just every now and then in mid-game, switch them over onto their favoured positions.
Yes.
Where they can get down the outside, whip a ball in, give Antonio some supply.
Listen, it's like playing Cresswell as a fucking centre forward, isn't it? You know, you are playing a player, not quite, but you're playing a player out of their position. You've got to get the best out of a player in any way. You've surely got to play him in their best position.
Well, it depends. It's like, do you know, when we play, it depends on the style of football you're going to play. If your attacking focus is like what Nigel said, and it is obviously our attacking focus, to get the ball out to Bowen and to get him to cut inside onto his left and shoot, that's fine, and it is successful, and you can still do that. But do you know, like when we play them little passages of play, like with the very few ones we played against Newcastle, where we played through the middle of the team, we slip a forward through. Well, in that scenario there, where you play someone through from a central position, the ball is always going to drop onto their weak foot when they strike the ball, because they're coming through on their weak side.
We've seen it with Bowen. We said that if Bowen was more clinical, he'd have a lot more goals. But the problem is, a lot of the chances have fallen on his weaker foot.
On his weaker foot, yeah.
No, we have said that. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Shouldn't agree with you, but I do. I agree with Gary on this one. Solid defence is paramount to us going forward.
Gotta be.
Rice is our best footballer. Cannot have him sitting in front of the defence.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. I don't disagree, but the problem is he's our only world-class player.
Is he though?
Oh, he is, Grant.
No, he's not, mate. He's not.
Oh, really?
He's not. Lanzini is our best. Come on.
Carrying on.
No, look, Lanzini is a great player. I'm not.
We've got to talk about the here and now, though.
If you'd have said Souček, I would have imploded.
Right. Rice is our best player. He is the best player we've had in years.
He's a world-class player, Grant.
He is the only world-class player we've got.
Yeah.
He is probably, if not, he's either one of, if not the first name on the team sheet for England.
Yeah.
He will be wanted by all the biggest clubs in the world. There is no doubt he is phenomenal, but he's not our best footballer. He's not our best creative player.
I'm going to say something to you now. I think if we played Declan Rice at left back, he'd be our best left back. If we played him at right back, he'd be our best right back. If we played him at centre back, he'd be our best centre back. All the way through the positions. You played him left wing, right wing, centre forward, he could do it. And that isn't because Declan Rice is an amazing left winger and right winger. That's because
desire.
I disagree, mate.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to agree with Grant on this. I think Declan Rice does a fucking great job of puffing his chest out and driving forward. But when you and I still haven't got the stats around this, right? When you work out how many goals that has delivered, those fucking runs forward.
He's not a goal scoring. But Gary, we've scored more goals at the start of this season. But we've scored more goals at the start of this season. No, you assist. It's key passes. Declan Rice sits deep. He picks the ball up. He drives the ball forward.
Your assertion was that Declan Rice takes the team up the pitch that creates goals.
That's what he does.
I'd like to know statistically how many goals that has actually created.
Oh, I tell you what, if you don't get up the pitch, you don't score, do you?
But how many times of those gut-busting runs where he puffs his chest out and runs forward, Gerrard style, other than Kidderminster?
I completely agree. He should never do it again.
The difference there, though, Gal. The difference there, though, Gal.
It's rubbish.
The difference there, though, the difference there is that this season, since he has been marauding forward more, and it's actually happened more since we've been struggling to score goals. So he's doing it more now as a consequence of our poor form. He's trying to influence the game. He's trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck. We're not suffering because of him doing that. He's doing that because we're suffering. It's the other way around. Whereas last season, we were scoring goals for fun, right? Before Lingard, even after Lingard.
Refer to Len.
No, I agree with you there. Rice is doing it because the other players are not doing it, right? Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Rice is, for instance, a better attacking midfielder than Lanzini.
But he's doing it because he has to do it because there is no one else.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah. Right. I agree with that.
No, that's my opinion. Right. Here's a problem we have. The movement up front is poor because everyone has been coached that you have to pick up a certain player every time. And when we lose ball, everyone is so conscious of having to get back and cover and to drop back into the positions that they're coached to play in that we lack that freedom. So yeah, that's to me is half the issue. So the fact then that Rice has to pick up the ball and drive it is because nobody's moving.
That's exactly right.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's a consequence.
But in our current way of playing, Grant, we don't improve if Declan Rice in this current system just stops doing that because we will never get up the pitch. After battle is, Grant, let me give you an example. In a typical scenario, listen, we're playing deep. We're playing deep. We're under siege like we often are in a game because we play football without the ball half the time. So what happens is our fullbacks are back babies, our wingers are back babysitting our fullbacks. They're not on the pitch. Right now, all of a sudden, we break up play. Whether it's Souček will get the ball, he'll give it to Rice anyway, or it's Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice he's got probably 2 or 3 options. He can either hoof the ball to Antonio, who's up against 2 centre-backs, and he can't trap a bag of cement at the moment, or he can drive that ball up the pitch and get the team up the pitch. What does he do? Give it back to Souček and let Souček drive? What are his options?
All right, I'll tell you what he could do. He could stop running forward, and let the forward players sort it out, because actually when he runs forward, he's taking up space and maybe pushing them out of position, and they're like, oh, yeah. So if he sat back and passed it off, he made the forward players maybe able to get on with it. And
but they're not up. Yeah, but the forward players ain't upfield, Nigel.
No.
They're back.
No, but they are upfield.
They're back covering the fullbacks, Nigel. When we're defending, Nigel, we play with 2 deep banks of 4.
Yeah, but in that case, then Declan Rice will be running through with no one to pass to in front of him. But it ain't happening like that. He's picking the ball up from deep and then he's running out. So...
Listen. The Souček and Rice debate will go on all season, but we ain't got all season. So not being rude, let's get some more comments in there, right? Okay, the comments are now Rice.
Before we do this, prepare yourself, Nigel, because you're next, right?
Yeah, you're next, right?
Yeah.
Rice is our best player, but we fixed something that wasn't broken and fucked it up a bit. Grant, he is the best footballer. With the ball at his feet, he is the best player by a mile. Look at his runs forward.
I've not seen Grant play. You any good, Grant? Paul's really bigging you up there.
He plays for the out of towners select 11. I'll let you know. Fun size Phil, are we all ready to admit that we're not going to finish top 4? Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, that's gone.
Last one, James Bond. Rice was key to scoring more goals when he was winning the ball in the DM position and setting us off.
Thank you, James.
Right. So, look, now we've put that to bed. This is one that this is just an argument we have every week, right? It really is. So now we're going to take you on to a feature, a 6foot2.co.uk feature, which is, who is the best West Ham manager ever? So, Nigel Kahn, over to you.
Right. So, it's something that always drags up arguments, isn't there? So I've tried to come up with a fair system of working out statistically on paper who could claim to have the best West Ham record as manager. And it's a difficult formula to work out because you think you've done it and then you think, well, actually, you've not taken into account the fact that in the beginning, people used to play 42 games and not 38 games. So when you look at win records, a lot of people do it off of how many games they've won. So they might have managed for 100 games, won 40 of them, got a 40% record, and they'll have a better win record than someone that managed for 400 games and won 198 games. And they say, oh, he's better than him. But what that fails to consider is that the bloke that won less games actually drew more games, so lost less games, and actually scored more goals as well, innit? So when you not only you know, when we're going to watch football, it's not only about, you know, are we winning? It's how many goals are we watching? This season's been fun because we scored more goals than last season, even though we got less points.
Yeah.
So, but we've celebrated more times, those of us that have gone or watched the game.
Yeah.
So the way I come up with it is, and also it had to be purely top flight. This is purely league football and purely top flight. So that excludes 2 managers, Charlie Painter and Lou Macari, because they never managed top flight. I then had to look at every season from the start. And the fairest way I come up with is because there was 15 managers, so whoever had the best record, averaged out, they would be awarded 15 points. And then the person at the bottom, everyone, would get 1 point. And poor old Abraham, he only had 1 season. But believe me, it was
one
really
too many.
wasn't it?
One too many.
No, but there is a shot coming, perhaps, when we do the cups, because believe me, Abraham's nowhere near the bottom. Strangely enough.
Yeah.
So, and this way, I'm hoping to come up with the thing is, this is all about on paper. So, I'm going to be releasing it all next week from Tuesday onwards. Who the best managers are. I'll be giving it out an article per manager and explaining what their records are, and then I'll publish the league table at the end of the week. And remember, this is about on paper. Now, football's not paid on paper. You know, in football, when we watch it, is actually more with emotion, as we can see from Nick and Gary. You know, and with differences of opinion. So we're all going to have our opinion, but you can't just go, oh, who's the best manager? Oh, John Lyall. Why is that? Well, he won 2 cups, didn't he? And actually, because of our age demographic of West Ham fans, we're all going to irk to John Lyall because he was the manager when we were kids. The older blokes will go to Ron Greenwood. He won 2 trophies. The problem I come up with is that do you reward promotion or relegation? Because John Lyall will take a battering because this is the only manager in West Ham's history to relegate us twice.
Yeah.
So what we've got here is West Ham's supposedly greatest ever manager being a man that relegated us twice. And if you converted that into modern day, you know, he wouldn't have been the manager after 1979 because they may have afforded him time to get us up. But when we didn't get promoted in 78, 79, blimey, the knives would have been out big time. He would have got nowhere near to winning the FA Cup in 1980. So it's a discussion point. Then I'll separate it to those that managed in the Premier League and those that didn't manage in the Premier League. So and there's one manager quite high up in the Premier League that I don't think many people will expect to be there. No. I don't think his name is synonymous with successful football at West Ham. He only had a short time with us, but when you look at it, and I've created 2 league tables, one by just having 15 points for the winner, for the top manager, 1 point for the lowest, and so on. But then I had a discussion in a couple of groups where should we reward winning more than losing? So I then create a table where you times it by 3 for winning, times it by 2 for drawing, and just having it as 15 to 1. So if you lost the least amount of games, you got 15 points, and if you lost the most amount of games, Avram, you got 1 point.
Did you implement the bonus point for beating Spurs, Nigel?
No, no, because we had that discussion, didn't it? Because obviously I would have gone through all the Millwall games and actually awarded bonus points for beating Millwall. I'll leave that to you youngsters, Nick, to beat yourselves up about Spurs. So this is it. There is, you know, the funny thing about it is that the man at the top, head and shoulders, is clear. And I don't think statistically many people will quite believe it.
This is not Premier League era, just so everyone knows, is it? This is
history.
No, so what I had to do is I had to separate those that played for 2 points for a win as well. So not only did they play 42 league games, they played for 2 points for a win. So then I had to strip it all out to a basic where it was average point per game.
Yeah.
And then times that by 3 yeah, to get 3 points for a win, and then average it out to 38 games.
I think that's the only fair way that you could weight it, though, isn't it? When you look at the way that the format changed, I think it's the only way you could do it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I did it. The problem was mainly with John Lyle, because John Lyle was the manager when we went from 2 points to a win to 3 points to a win. The problem with what happened there was his last season as 2 points for a win, we got relegated. So that's going to be low. And then when it weren't until we got promoted again in the top flight when they went to 3 points for a win. So his first season back in the first division in 81-82 was when we moved to 3 points for a win. So to begin with, I actually split his career into two. And you could see that obviously when he first became West Ham manager, John was pretty poor, to be honest. We had 2 or 3 of our worst seasons. Bearing in mind, if you look at the man that he replaced, I don't think. I mean, I did for a laugh the other Sunday, retro rant. My God, if you could do a retro rant about John Lyle's beginnings, and signings, some of the signings he made in the 70s were not very well received when you look back at it. So it's funny how we judge modern day managers, yet we hold these, giants of the past in such high regard, yet if they were matched equally, people may,
Do you think that the implementing of 3 points for a win, because obviously that was brought in to encourage more attacking football, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So do you not think then in some ways it makes it harder because the emphasis is on more attacking football? So if you're a manager who was there at the 2 points for a win system, you could probably get away with being more defensive minded. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think if you look back, there are teams that were probably relegated under the 2 points for a win system that probably would have stayed up under 3 points for a win system because, they didn't draw many games, but they won more and lost more. So the weird thing is also, the top 6 we've achieved 6 times in our history. I think 7 maybe now. I think that's it. And
great, is it?
No, and the one thing that we've never done.
How many times, Nigel, in our history?
7. Top 6. Yeah. So
you don't realise how rare last year was, Nick. I mean, it was really rare.
I mean, our first, I'll do it because I've done the season. So I just, because this is obviously a fact. So obviously I had to go through every season. So we finished 6th in 26-27, but then finished 17th the season after. We didn't finish 6th again till 58-59, but then 59-60 finished 14th. You then got to go to 72-73, but then in 73-74 we finished 18th. Obviously, we then finished 3rd, 85-86. We finished 15th the season after. And then you go to 98-99, we finished 5th. And this is sort of bucks the trend. Redknapp then finished 9th in 2000.
What did we finish the year before? Didn't we finish 7th? We went, was it 7th, 5th?
So
9th?
We went 8th, 5th, and 9th.
8th. Yeah.
So only twice in our history have we finished top 10 3 years in a row.
I think it's an interesting way of looking at it because obviously all football fans, we're all different ages here. Obviously Gary and Nigel are a lot older than the rest of us.
Massively older, yeah.
So they will talk about managers.
With age comes wisdom, though.
Yeah, exactly. John. Fuck you, John.
and also wrinkles. What I'm saying is doing it statistically like you've done is quite interesting because for me, I don't know, Grant, Nick, whatever generation you are, you're going to have your favourite manager. Now, whether or not statistically that means he was one of the best, totally. So for me, and I'll say it now, Moyes has given me almost 2 seasons of fantastic football. Statistically, I'd imagine he's up there as well. I might be totally wrong. I don't know. But so I can only go by that. So for me, Moyes is probably after Redknapp, my favourite West Ham manager of my watching West Ham. Do you know what I mean? So
100%. And you know, even though as much as I moan about him, because I moan about everything, Yeah. But I can't deny with that. And I'm a million miles away from being Moyes out. But it don't mean. Do you know what I mean? But I'll still get frustrated. But it doesn't mean I don't appreciate what Moyes has done.
Yeah, no, of course, 100%. But this is why when Nigel gives you those stats about how many times we've finished top 6, which is next to nothing. You know, when me and you have a debate, Nick, and you say that I'm too positive and I say you're too negative, like we do, it's not. For me, it's a case of embracing what we've got now because it's true. How long is it going to bloody last for? And that's not me not wanting progression or ambition or anything like that. It's me being realistic through the experiences we've all had in our time supporting West Ham. You know, so you can only judge by that manager by that.
I mean, probably to finish it up, the stats, and this is the funny thing is, I'm not one when people talk about stats of football. I'm like, no, just go hard, mate. You can twist stats any way you like, and I will twist stats now. In West Ham's 122-year history, because we were formed in 1900, we've only spent 64 seasons in the top flight.
Yeah.
So, that's it. So only 64 seasons top flight. But from 1958-59, so in our last, 60 years of being in existence, we've only spent 7 years outside of the top flight.
Really?
So,
is that right? Is that right?
So if you look at it, so where you go throughout the whole of our history, we're only a 50-50 top flight team. But if you look at the modern history, we're bang in there, deserving that. When people think of us as a big club, well, if we've only been out of the top flight since 1958, we'd lost 3 years in the 70s and early 80s. And then we lost a couple of years in like 89, 91. And then we lost in 2003, 5, and then 2011, 12.
Is this
7 years?
Nigel, is this right? Because I always worry in case Russ is getting his facts from Stelios. Never back-to-back top 6 league finishes.
No, he's not getting it from Stelios. And to be fair, he did work that out himself, but he did send it to me to verify.
Is that right?
And that is a fact. Yeah, well, I've just done it, Nick. I don't know where you was listening. I just read them all out. We went.
Sorry, mate.
We went 6th, 14th.
I've had a long afternoon, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We went 6th, 14th, 6th, 17th, 6th, 14th, 3rd, 15th. And then we went. Who else was it? Redknapp. We went 15th, 5th, then 9th. So we've never had back-to-back top 6 finishes. The chances are, though, we won this year.
I was just going to say, like, if we end up 7th this year, we'll probably at the end of it, we'll look back and go, let's be honest, that was a good season. We'll be happy with it. But once again, we've never done our back-to-back top 6s.
I mean, look, John Lyle did 9th, 8th, and 9th. Yeah. In the early 80s. He got us back up. He went 9th, 8th, and 9th. And technically, he's got the best short period where in 5 seasons, he went 9, 8, 9, 16th, then 3rd.
Wow.
Yeah. But what happened is the 3 years, so we had our best ever season ever in the club's history. And me and Gary are lucky enough to be old enough to have fucking stood on the pitch and really believed we were going to win the league.
Yeah.
We then went 15th, 16th, and relegated 19th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right, just very quickly then, right? No explanation needed, no stats needed.
Yeah.
Gary, your favourite manager as a West Ham fan? One name.
Look, it has to be one that I've just managed while I've been there, right? So John Lyle. John Lyle.
Nick?
My favourite manager, and he isn't the best manager, but it was because he delivered my probably my favourite season was Slaven Bilic. Just in that year, if I'm honest, I think that season was one of my. It was beautiful.
It was. Yeah. Well, it all went well, didn't it, last season?
Yeah.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Grant,
Flash, Harry, all the way.
Harry,
the 8th, 5th, 9th. That I love that. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Harry was good.
Before we knew what Harry was really like as well. So
yeah, he turned into a cunt, didn't he? But you know, it was good.
Nigel, colour managers only, mate. Like managers who have managed in colour only. Not when you start watching Sid King and all that lot. Who's your favourite manager?
Out to Charlie Charles.
I'm going to fucking clip that. You've seen what I can do. I fucking released that video you came on.
Don't you dare.
Hey, top secret, Nigel.
Do you know, it's a tough one because John Lyle for me, absolute god. But Harry, it's hard because Harry gave me Di Canio.
They were good years. They were good years, weren't they?
They were good years. I love the Harry years.
I'd probably go Lyle because I think what it is I always think when you're a kid, you just love football for football. Relegations, like, you know, first season I got relegated. I didn't cry. You know, I couldn't wait to come back next season. You know, so when you're a kid, you just, you know, you just accept football for what it is, and you don't get wrapped up in all this tactical stuff.
Yeah.
Nick, when are we doing the quiz? Because you need to get the link out there for people to join.
Yeah, you need to get the code up, Nick. I did private message you just now, but you ignored me.
Oh, fuck's sake. Well, hang on. Go on then.
We're going to do to all you people in the chat. We're going to try and knock Nigel off his perch tonight. Please.
Let's hope he ain't put managers' questions.
Look, can one of you in the chat have your game face on? Because Nigel walks this every time, right?
I'm in the game this week. I've
finished second.
Who came second and third last time?
I don't know. What?
Don't look that far, Dan.
I'll go through some of the comments in the chat while Nick's playing with it. I'm enjoying the footy under Moyes. First season under Slav.
Yeah, it was. The first season under Slav was fucking amazing, wasn't it? It was amazing. Longevity and all that. When you evaluate someone for longevity, he ain't quite got it, Slav. But that season was. I just wish, because my dad died the year before. I wish my dad had seen that season with Pyatt, because he would have fucking loved Pyatt. He would have loved him. You remember, you knew me dad, John, and my dad loved, for instance, he's proper West Ham, but he loved Thierry Henry. Fucking loved him.
Terry Henry.
And I can only imagine what his reaction to Dimitri Payet would have been. He would have fucking loved him, you know. He would have loved him.
He would have hated him the next season, though.
Yeah, but he would have loved him for that one season. I wish he could have stayed for that one more season. You know what I mean?
Carry on talking. We'll leave that up for a bit.
Yeah. So, Nigel, Freshfielder wants to know, when you do the chart, will Len be humming the chart rundown song?
Yeah, I'll have a word with him. We might when we do the podcast.
Ron Greenwood was our best manager, in my opinion. Oh, talking of podcasts, we was on the podcast last week, people. If you haven't listened, have a listen. It's probably one of the best ones I've ever had.
No, well worth a listen.
Moyes, I can only go on my lifetime. The last 20 years as a Hammers fan, not a lot to choose from, really. Mention for Pardew, who got us to the FA Cup.
That was brilliant.
To be true, Pardew did all right for us as well, didn't he?
The thing, and this was the thing where I had to strip out the Division 2 stuff or the second tier football.
Who's got a bigger?
And just concentrate on the first tier. Pardew, because Pardew only had 1.4 seasons in top flight football with West Ham.
Really?
That's it. It's all he had, because he had 2 seasons in the Championship.
I was going to say, he was in the
We came up. He did really well, and then the problem he's got is that I think Pardew was the first West Ham manager to be removed mid-season. So when we sacked our managers previously, they either did it at the end of the season, or we did it near the end of the season. Ted Fenton went in the April, I think, or the March. But no one had ever been sacked after only half a season until Pardew.
Hang on, John, can you explain to Mike Brennan what he needs to do to get on the quiz? He's posting.
How drunk is he? Because then it decides how much I have to explain. Do we know? I know he's in London. He's in London, isn't he? I think, is that right?
He's 12% ale drunk.
Yeah. So, Mike, you need to download Kahoot on the App Store, and then all you need to do is download it. Once you've downloaded it, put in the game pin as per top of the page.
Clean all the dribble off the screen first.
I've just been informed by somebody who's far more cleverer than me that you can just Google it. You don't even have to download the app. You can just Google it, apparently.
Oh, look, Len's going up against you today. Look.
Oh, does Len? Who's put?
What's that? Big Ed Oz.
What's it? Who's done that? It's Tom Murphy. I bet it's Tom Murphy.
John, you've dropped out. You was on there and now you're gone.
Oh, have I?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I'll come back in. Give me a sec, lads.
Right, I'll tell you what, people, don't let your screens die because it looks like you log out. I'm gonna give it another minute and then we're gonna start.
Yeah. How many people can we get? 20 maximum, isn't it? Was that right?
Yeah, we can have 20 people. This is
I've
more
got
than we've
to
had before. I'll tell you what, Nigel, people are coming for you tonight, mate. Look,
yeah, it's a few. I've sort of preempted it with my name, but let's hope I'll back it up.
People, look.
You just called yourself winner, really? Yeah. My God, if that don't make people,
join in.
I never know. What?
Where's Quizmaster Russ? DJ Russy B. Come on, you should be good at these.
Nigel, can I just ask a question on managers? You say about Lyle, and like in the modern time, he'd never have lasted.
Yeah.
Would Billy Bonds would have gone earlier, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
In modern times.
I mean,
do you not think?
I'm gonna start it. 1 minute.
Possibly. I mean, obviously, he got us up, and then his first season in top flight was not good.
Nigel, quiz time.
You got the questions. You got the answers in that. Yeah, you got the questions. You got it all. Yeah.
Here we go.
Frank McAvenny said made.
I know that one because I was there.
Yeah, I know that one.
One of only 2 games that I went on my own with my dad.
I know we signed him. It was Norwich away in the cup when we re-signed him, but obviously he wouldn't have played in that game.
That's not the question, Nigel. Yeah, don't try.
I got it wrong.
Oh, so did I.
Was that the Paul Ince goal?
Yeah. We were stood right behind that goal.
He ran the length of the pitch.
Yeah.
Gary, second place. Virgil, look.
Where's the Nigel gone? Where's the Nigel gone? Look at his little face in a minute.
Bobby Moore scored his first league goal against who in December 1960?
I haven't got a fucking clue.
I'm
going to guess.
I'm guessing.
I might have gone a little bit too strong on these questions just to try and screw Nigel over. Sorry, Pete.
Yeah, I think you have done, mate.
Nigel is in serious. I've never seen him like this in my life. He's gone white. He's actually gone white.
Yes.
Oh, that was my second choice. I
only picked him because of such an old club.
He's in the lead.
I'm in second place.
Which former Welsh international signed for West Ham from Fulham in January 2004?
I know this.
From Fulham?
Yeah, just go backwards, work out who didn't play for Fulham. It's easier that way around.
Don't give the clues away, John. Yeah.
It's not an easy one, this. I would never have got this.
Get him. What a guess.
I got it. I ruled out Collins and Gabidon immediately.
Carrot crunchers in the top 5. Look,
Nigel. Look, he's in 4th place. Look, right, Nigel, you ready? Do you want to have a drink or something first?
Nigel's drawing everyone into a false sense of security.
He is right. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Who did Croatian Davor Suker score his first West Ham Premier League goal against?
God.
That's a good one. Come on, that's a good one.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go for the obvious.
Yeah.
I think that's too obvious, though. He was rubbish for us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was some player as well, wasn't he? Like previously, he was
world class.
Yeah.
Fuck. Jesus.
Did he really?
I'm still in second place.
Right, there we go. Look, I have a big one's going mad. Look,
top 4 got that wrong. All top 4.
Yeah.
Which season did Scott Parker sign for West Ham? 2007, 2008, 2008, 2009, 2006, 2007, or 2009 and 2010?
I think I've got it wrong. I know I should have gone for that one instead. Fuck it. Oh,
Wild guess.
You've
Hope
let
I'm
yourself
right.
down, mate. You've let yourself down again. Oh, I got it right. That's all right. No worries.
You know.
Oh, look. Oh, look. He jumped straight back into the lead. Ivor Biggin's gone limp. Look, he's gone limp. He shot his load too soon. Right, hang on.
Because he didn't win Player of the Year first year.
Right, which season did BAC become?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, when we played it back on our
I
front.
know. It's got to be.
1988, 89, 1989,
David
90.
Kelly signed. When did David Kelly sign?
90.
If I'm wrong with
been-
this, I'll be
must have
devastated. It's
been-
my first kit.
David Kelly must have been that one.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, good return on that one.
It was a slow answer.
And
but
that weren't when David Kelly signed anyway.
Right.
He's
Yeah,
right before that, isn't he?
I thought it was Nigel because
88, 89, David
No,
Kelly signed.
hang on. There was a Sun headline that said West Ham this season are playing with back on their front, and their new striker has got one leg shorter than the other.
Well, it could have put that, but Kelly signed in 88. So when
right.
Evco was still the manager.
Right, next question. Next question.
Never believe the Sun newspaper.
Here we go. What is Mark Noble's middle name?
Fuck
I know
off.
this. I know this.
Justin,
I know this.
John,
James or Tarquin?
I know this. Tarquin. Nick, he's such a knob. Nick, that's one of your office mates, isn't it? Tarquin up there. Nick was out with Tarquin tonight. Hi, Tarquin. I've got my statue with my laptop in it as well, Tarquin.
Hey. Same as me. He's a fine second name.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary, Virgil, and
No, I ain't staying there. Don't worry about it.
That's
bloody
top
hell.
four. I saw all of us on the screen are flying. All the ones who ain't on the screen, they're rubbish.
Here we go. Question 8. How much did we pay Man City for Steve Lomas in 1997? 2 mil, 3 mil, 2.5 mil, or 2.75 mil?
Nick, why have you turned into David Dickinson?
It's because he's been out with Tarquin.
That's another guess. Fucking, where did he find these questions from?
These are obscure fucking questions, Nick. They really are.
Well, look.
Well, Nigel, you have to
Come on.
Come
I'll
on.
go
That's
right.
a guess, isn't it? That's a guess. I guessed it right. I didn't know.
Ooh. Len's coming up.
Hello, Len.
Len's coming up. Right, here we go. Next one.
9 of
Who did
15.
Ian Wright score
I know this.
on his
I know
West Ham
this.
debut against?
I know this.
Sorry about
Easy.
the English there.
Easy.
Well,
Easy, that
look,
one.
I'm doing this on the basis that I can remember him scoring against these twice.
First game of the season. This was first game of the season away.
I must admit, I wouldn't have got this one.
Yeah, I know this one.
Get it.
Oh,
Come
shit.
on.
No.
Yeah. So I suspect Nigel's got that one.
Oh,
Yeah, he has.
I'm up there with a big man.
Len's on fire, just so you know. Carrot Cruncher, you're doing well as well.
Thank you very much.
Why is Len on fire? Because he's got a few right in a row, is it?
Like former Hammer Joey O'Brien ended his career at which League of Ireland club? Dundalk, Sligo Rovers, Shamrock Rovers, or Finn Harps?
Nick is such a dickhead. Oh, I can imagine you actually talking like that in the office, though. That's amazing.
Drinking his fruit tea.
Yeah, I'm from Mile End. Yeah, definitely.
I'll have a cut of chamomile tea, please. Right, there we go.
2
You know
sugar
what?
and milk.
I went past the shop. I went past the shopping.
Hey, he's back in the lead. He's back in the lead. Here we go. Right, next one.
It's how
Dale
quick.
Gordon signed for West Ham in 1993 from which club?
Oh,
Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, or Dundee?
oh yeah, I know that one.
Are you sure?
I think I know this one.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a fifth choice?
What the
then?
book said, Nigel. Just what the book said.
Shit.
Yes.
Oh,
He didn't play for any other Scottish clubs. It can only be that one.
Here we go.
Oh, I just thought we signed him from Norwich.
I think he was at Norwich Den
I
Rangers,
thought
wasn't
he came from Norwich, you know.
I thought he went Norwich, then Rangers.
I think he's got that question wrong.
I weren't me. I got it from a book. Right, hang on. I don't know these fucking things. Right, hang on. Next one.
You're mugging me off my second place. You're mugging me off.
Right, who did Billy Bonds play his last West Ham game against in 1988? Southampton, Brighton, Sheffield Wednesday, or Stoke?
That's a wild guess. I
Like,
was only 9.
Nigel's smiling. Look, he's rubbing his chin and smiling. Look.
no, I've guessed it. I've got a sneaky feeling this was last game. I don't think he played last game of the season.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Wild guess.
I'm dying on my arse now.
Hang on. Oh, he's still in front now. Len's creeping
Len's
up.
creeping up. Stay away from me, Len.
Len don't exist. He's a cartoon character. He's not a real person.
Matt Jarvis retired last year, playing for which National League club?
I know this one because I saw him play against Dagenham and Redbridge. I know this one.
Or Wilston?
I know this one.
Well, I've had to guess.
I'm not.
I saw him play against Dagenham last season.
Fucking hell, John could win this night. John could win.
No, no, mate. I ain't got a clue. I wouldn't know. Oh, I got it wrong.
I got it wrong. Oh no, this is all wrong.
Right, now these last two questions,
They are player reveals, okay?
so that's what they are. So here we go. Here's the first one.
Who is this? I don't know. Tell me. Oh, Collison.
Colleton, Bilic, Hitzensberger, or Tompkins?
Yeah, I got it early. I got it. Oh no, I got the wrong one.
Oh shit! No, just fucking wait, Gary. Don't go early.
Got it.
Oh, fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't wait. I did it early. I thought I'd get in there.
Fucked up. That's my second place gone now. It ain't happening.
Number one.
My dream of second place. It ain't happening.
I have a big one. He's getting happy again.
Nick, hang on. It's down to the last question. Drum roll.
I'll do that. Here we go. You ready? Nigel, you ready?
Yeah.
Sharp in, take a breath, yeah? Here we go. Who is this West Ham player? Go on, good luck.
Ian Dowie, Tim Breaker, John Moncur, or Martin Allen?
Oh, that kit. It's awful, isn't it? I remember that kit.
I think he's cut his head off.
I'm going early.
I'm going
Based
early.
on the legs. Based on the legs, I'm going early.
He's cut his head off.
Fuck off.
He's cut his head off. That weren't me. That weren't a picture I put up.
I've guessed.
I've guessed
Fuck
Ian
no.
Dowie. Oh, Tim Breaker.
Yes.
It's just fine. Yeah.
She nicked it at the end.
Nigel knows quiz. Simon's first. So third place. Gary, second place.
Yes. Finish third.
Oh, he cut his head off and I've got it right. Fucking hell.
He can't. He's in bollocks, isn't he?
You can't have a question that doesn't even give you the answer, mate. What is that?
Seriously, the picture had his head. I don't know what you've done.
No, I'll tell you what though. I got it on the thighs.
Right, here we go.
No, that's bang out. I'm not happy with that. That's ridiculous. That is a god.
You were mugged right off there, John. Mugged off.
Hey, Johnny boy.
Third place.
Yeah, it was only 2 minutes ago. You was nearly incandescent with rage, Nigel. He didn't play for Rangers.
Seriously, I couldn't have done any more than what I did with them questions. Yeah, I really did try.
What did you do? What did you do? You did them wrong. You had no geezer's head. How can I get anything with that?
What is the fires? No, look, the picture. It had his picture when I put it up there.
Oh, mate, you've had too many shandies. That's your problem. You and Tarquin have had far too many lime cordials or something.
Oh.
Pinot Noir, Tarquin, Pinot Noir.
Right, there we go. Right, go on. Right, I don't know what's next because I'm not doing things.
Next, we are on to John. Not Nick. John. We are now on to the Wolves preview.
I'm smoking, so that's why I'm off. Go on.
I'm gonna bring that up, John, and then I'm gonna leave you to run the slides.
Indeedo. Okay, so as we know, Sunday 2 o'clock at the London Stadium, West Ham take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves, who were doing very well, and they are actually doing very well under their new manager, or who they took at the start of the season, Bruno Lager, as I like to call him. when he came into the team, when he took the management role from obviously Nuno Espirito, people saw it as a bit of a risk. But what he seems to have done there is he's made them very hard to beat and very hard to score against, in fact. Wolves are less than prolific in attack, but defensively they are supreme. Obviously, you know, we know they're letting 2 goals against Arsenal the other night, but only up until that point, only Man City had conceded fewer goals. What he did was he got the defence to increase their pressing. He instead preferred to make Wolves better at repelling attacks rather than preventing them. This is largely down to personnel, especially a player by the name of Max Kilman, who they originally bought a couple of years ago from non-league Maidstone United, and who was predominantly a futsal player, which is basically indoor football. He's now turned him into an international class defender, and he's been one of the stories of the Premier League this season, with apparently Chelsea looking closely at him. Alongside him, regularly and more predominantly, is the more known Conor Cody, England international now, and Roman Sace. Lager made a lot of tweaks for the styles, whereas Cody was covering defender, mopping up behind last season. He made him push a little bit higher. Now they all tend to stay in a flat line. He also, when he came into the club, he was quite surprised at the lack of video analysis that went on with the players. So he got a purpose-built video analysis room built. And whereas Nuno used to have sort of one video chat with the players a week, he tends to have 1 or 2 daily. So he's very much into giving the players information and sort of trying to build up an understanding of who they're up against and how they should be looking to play. As we know, just recently on Thursday night, they did, unfortunately, if you're a Wolves fan, lose 2-1 to Arsenal. Arsenal came from behind and scored a very late winner. But as you can see, they generally set up with the same system. 3 at the back, Max, Kilman, Sace and Cody. As we know, their centre midfield is fantastic. The Portuguese connection, Neves, and that's not Moutinho, is it? That's Jimenez, but Moutinho as well. What surprised me most was that Neves is only 24. He seems like he's been around for an awfully long time. Moutinho is a lot older, a lot more experienced, 35-year-old Portuguese player. But, you know, they are very much, they orchestrate what goes on. They look to pick the ball up and they like to play those long, accurate passes. They also like to bring the fullbacks into play and the wingbacks into play at any one time. Wolves defensively here, if you look at this slide here, which I nicked off Twitter, before the Arsenal result, they'd only lost 2 points after being ahead. Now, that would go hand in hand alongside with the way he likes them to play, which is defensively strong, which I suppose is a lot like Moyes, you know, build from the back scenario. They did start the season off with 3 straight 1-0 defeats, and it wasn't looking good. But he has obviously slowly but surely turned them around. And, you know, he's made them a real contender, really, if you think about it. I mean, you know, if you look at the league, you know, they've had a slip up in recent weeks, losing twice to Arsenal just in the last couple of weeks. But he's made them defensively sound, generally defensively strong. If you look at the other side of things, West Ham, coming from behind, we're the best at it. So what I'm trying to get at here is whoever scores first in this game generally is going to have a good chance of winning it. Yeah. I can't envisage it seeing many goals. However, you know, we could all be surprised, couldn't we? But he's done a fantastic job, this guy. And to be honest with you, I didn't know much about him before he came in. But he has made them real contenders. He's got a lot of players there playing well. And, you know, all their players, they've got, is it Prudence? They've got the guy on loan from Leipzig. They've got a lot of good players there, you know. And, you know, it's going to be a tough battle. I'm not sure what we're going to do. Moyes, you know, will he try and combat them and go man for man, like for like? We don't know if we've got the, you know, we've got the squad depth and the players available to do it, really. As you can see here, they've only had slip-ups recently, both against the Arsenal. And before that, they were, I felt, becoming outsiders to nick the fourth position. Whether they will now or not is another thing. I don't know. But they're doing really well. And, you know, they've gone from a bit of a, you know, conceding a few goals, you know, a bit here and there. Now they're very consistent, and I like the way they play. In terms of head-to-head matches, if you look at these last 8, you've got Wolves have come out on top of, surprisingly, 5 of them. which surprised me somewhat. We haven't played them a lot in the Premier League because there was a lot of times when they wasn't in it or we wasn't in it at the same time. But, you know, it's going to be a tough game. If you look at the last form, the last 5 result form table, the last 10, you know, they've been quite consistent. They're up there, they're pushing, and they're currently sitting 7th, only 6 points behind 4th, which you could say now that it's out of their hands. I do truly believe, however, if we are to beat them on Sunday, they're out the race, you know, and that will put us back in it. So we do need to win. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if you guys have got anything to say about the game coming up. What your thoughts are, Nick?
Well, yeah, fucking brilliant analysis, mate. I think, like you say, the way that they play, I do get the feeling that Moyes is going to try and match them up because they are so effective. They're so effective in that system, and it does worry me. I know Arsenal have done them over and stuff like that, but you know, Arsenal are a good team, certainly in an attacking sense. I do genuinely fear for this game. The only kind of saving grace is really, and the reason that I fear for them, and the reason I fear is because, like you said, not because they're an attacking threat. It's they're defensive. They're so solid. They're almost quite comfortable about the ball as well. They're more than likely sort of happy to just sort of say to West Ham, go on, come at us, show us what you've got, and that worries me because I don't think we've got much in the attacking third.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I'd say is they're not prolific in front of goal either.
They're not.
I know Jimenez had his injury, but I think he's got like 4 or 5 goals this season. But we know he's a quality striker, so you know you don't want to give him those chances. But he's been far from prolific, and they, as a team, haven't been prolific at all. I think he seems to be. I think he's quite. Because where did he manage before? Benfica.
Yeah.
I mean,
think he was, yeah.
When he was at Benfica, they were quite the flair team. They scored a lot of goals, and I think when he came in, maybe the assumption was that he was going to do that with Wolves. But I suppose if he's judging it by what he's got available. He can't play that way. He can't play that way. Maybe that's the point. I don't know, but they're solid. They're solid at the back, but they don't score goals. So I think whoever scores first wins this game.
The clean sheets. Their goalkeeper has the most clean sheets of anyone off the other 14 stats outside the greedy 6. Yeah, he's leading that. So.
Sorry, Grant. Greedy 5 plus Spurs.
Greedy 5.
Apologies.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think, Nigel?
I mean, I hope he does match him up.
I think he will. I think he will.
The funny thing is that if he does match him up and we win the game, I hope he bloody keeps it that way.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, but you know, it's in a funny way, this is the biggest game of the season without doubt. Because of what if they've still have a game in hand over us, but obviously even stopping them from winning with our goal difference acting as an extra point. It may do us a favour. I think either us or them are going to finish above Spurs. So if we can win this, I think then we should be able to hopefully push on for 6 spots. And another thing really is we really need points here because when it gets to the European and the Cup games in the next few weeks, and we're hoping to concentrate in the Cups, you know, the league form may slide. And in which case, any point gained in this February going into March period will save us at the end of the season with a position. I mean, you know, as I say, I'm looking more at the Cups, but I think with this one, I think back to 2010, save our season. You know, we lost to Wolves. It was such a big game. You know, and this Wolves team... Bruno Lage, though, has managed in this country before, but I think he was assistant manager with the bloke who managed Swansea and Sheffield Wednesday.
Ferreira.
Cavallo, is it? Or
the one with the long hair, the longish hair?
No. He was sort of older, shorter, little bloke. He managed Swansea and then he went to Sheffield Wednesday.
Right.
I think... I'm not sure about the Premier League. It may have been when they were in the Championship, but he was his assistant. So he did the miles as an assistant before. I think Benfica was his first managerial job as the head coach. Bit like, you know, it's like Arteta spent his years doing the hard graft with Pep, and now he's turning Arsenal around.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
2015 to 17, he was at Sheffield Wednesday. 17, 18, he was at Swansea's assistant. Then
so
Benfica B coach for a season. Then Benfica.
Yeah. So I don't know that. The name Cavallo, I don't think it is something. Yeah, I know it began with a C. He was a Portuguese manager. Anyway,
they've only let in 20 goals in the league. We've let in over 34. 35.
Yeah, but then again, if you're more attacking, you're leaving your defence more exposed. There's a good chance that clubs outside of the 5+1s or outside of the 5, forget the +1 for now. It's just 5. Outside of those 5, if you're going to score the goals that we've scored, yeah, we're going to let them in. Now, funny enough, I would rather be us than them in that situation because goals are fun. Yeah,
they are. We've almost scored twice as many goals as them in the league.
Yeah, so we've celebrated, and this is my whole point: is we've been in the ground and celebrated 40-odd goals.
Yeah,
they haven't.
That's right. Yeah, there's a comment in here I've just noticed. Actually, it's from someone called Ryan Smith, who's it's a genuine one, fresh fielder. Hello, Mr. Killen. I'm with your son. We request money for fried chicken. I've missed a text. These are the extremes that your kids will go to ponce off you, get money off you. So, do I give my son money for chicken? This is the question.
Who is it? Which son is it? Which son?
Lee. No,
give him nothing.
No, Lee needs the chicken. He needs the chicken. You got to give him chicken.
Give money for chicken.
Well, look, I'm not being funny. It's 11:15.
He must be hammered if he wants chicken.
Do you know what? Is he one of them chicken? Is it Kentucky Fried Chicken, or is it like another one? And he said something else then. But anyway, let's go with Dixie Fried Chicken.
Yummy chicken.
Yeah, you know, because if he's a chicken shop boy, then he needs to knock it on the head because he'll end up with a fat face like this. You know,
I know,
John, isn't that right?
Well, look, I'll send you a tenner just to stop you fucking.
Tenner? Can I have a tenner?
I'll tell you what, for a tenner, what are you going to get for a tenner? That's got to be a 3-piece meal plus a corn on the cob, isn't it?
If it's not a KFC and it's one of them PFCs, he'll get 10 wings, 4 fries, a bottle of Coke.
He's got a tenner, mate. He's running back down to Weatherspoons.
Yeah, he is.
I got another round.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh dear.
But yeah, no. So what do you think, Gal, against Wolves?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me about chicken. Yeah, against Wolves, I think it's
chicken.
Listen, very, very tough game. I think going back to what we said earlier, I'd love to see us being really, really stingy and tight at the back, and I'd love to have a formation that gives our forward players the freedom to go forward. That's my 2 hopes, right? Yeah. Solid defense, freedom to go forward. That's it, really. Without that, I think we're going to struggle.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I think, I don't know. I mean, we'll get into the lineup selector in a minute. I don't know that we've got the personnel to match him up at the moment. I think we would. I think if Masuaku's fit, you play him because then you've got natural wing backs. Because if you're going to play wing backs, that's your only wide threat. So you need wide players that can get past someone. You need, they're wingers, aren't they? You know, whereas, how long's Sofal out for now?
6-7 weeks.
He's out for 6 or 7 weeks. Masuaku's out for nobody knows. And Johnson's not exactly an attacking. He's not a wing back, is he?
No,
he's not a wing back.
Not really, but he used to be a winger. He used to be a winger.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
What about Ashby?
He's not in the reckoning, is he, Nick? He ain't been anywhere near the squad since Europe. Well, since the Tottenham game, actually. But
he was all right in that game, wasn't he?
Listen, he was good, but he hasn't been in and around the squad since. So I can't see him bringing him in from the cold.
I like Ashby because he's got a very good cross on him. He loves to get forward. He's got a bit of arrogance about him, that kid, and I think that's what I really like. I don't know whether he's the answer at this point in time. You know, I think.
But if there's ever a time you got to look to the youth, though, I think probably now is probably it.
Do you know what? Perhaps that's the big thing. We never thought about that when we covered the big thing that Suchek was talking about. Perhaps this is the big thing.
Yeah, it could be. You know, but
Ashby was a strange one, wasn't it? He got thrown in the cup against Spurs in a really tough game, in a really tough atmosphere, and then he hasn't played since, has he?
He did well in that game, I thought, as well. I liked him. Yeah, he was.
I enjoyed him facing up against Højbjerg, wasn't it? When he sort of got in Højbjerg's face. Yeah,
he wasn't having it, was he? Yeah, he wasn't getting mugged off.
Yeah, Højbjerg's tried to give it to him, didn't he? He tried to pick on the little kid, didn't he? And he got up and got in his face. I really like that.
I know. Right, should we go into the lineup predictor?
Let's hang on, just very quickly. There's no mock week this week, but I've got to just put this in case our friend, the Tottenham fan.
Hello there. I'm Sally, and I'm desperately disappointed to tell you that this is Cock of the Week.
Obviously, you know who I'm going to go for, the ever whinging. I've got two, actually, right? I've got one obvious. Right?
That's a bit harsh, mate, ever whinging. Oh, sorry, Conte.
I'm going to go for him, right? Because, I mean, not being funny. Jesus come out in the press. I don't know where he gets off moaning. What's he moaning about? What did he expect he was coming into, right? So, for me, you decide either he's Cock of the Week for actually being a cock, or there's another one. Kevin Prince Boateng, right? And I'm not going to say it because there might be people listening with kids in the car, as we know sometimes happens. But we need to applaud this Cock of the Week because if this is true, he's an absolute legend.
So much sex.
I was going to say that's a long time ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to go into detail, but you know, we need to applaud his Cock of the Week. So, you know, I'll let you decide on that anyway.
Well done, Prince.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done. Yeah. Good effort. Good
work. Good work
by him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I can't get it up. Oh, here we go.
Boateng don't have
that. Kevin.
Right. Okay. So big changes now. Look, I think we should start with a goalkeeper because look, as good as we know Fabianski is, and he's a brilliant goalkeeper. Part of our look, we don't build from the back. He hasn't got good distribution. Now, I do think that Areola is better in that sense. So and the rumours are apparently. I thought it was odds on that Areola was going to get sent back, but when you listen to other people, it sounds like that Moyes wants to try and keep him. So
I'll tell you what, Nick. Let's just pick the team that we think should be playing rather than the one that we think.
No. We're going to have to because apparently there's big changes. So
apparently so. So Areola in goal for me.
All right, John, Areola or Fabianski tomorrow.
I would still pick Fabianski if I'm honest, but
that's fine. Nigel.
Fabianski. Ariola's playing against Southampton, I think. So.
Okay, Grant.
Yeah, Fabs.
All right, Fabs is in goal. That's fine. Yeah. This is a democracy. There we go.
Nick hates a democracy.
I do.
Fucking dictator, isn't he?
Especially if he's one.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. Right, so Dawson is right centre back.
You ain't asked everyone.
No, but he is, isn't he? There's no point even fucking talking about it.
Watching Fox News too much, mate. It's taking over.
No. Right. So look. Obviously, those two are going to play. We know that. So if are we, like what Nigel said, are we going to match him up? And if we match him up, is it going to be Cresswell in the back three or Diop?
Cresswell.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I sort of said to you the other day, could they play Cresswell there? And you had a good case why they probably couldn't. As in terms of a left wing back, because I thought if you had Diop, Dawson, and Zuma as the centre back three, that's quite strong. You know.
You've got to remember that when Cresswell played as the left-sided centre back, he was more or less the wing back as well. He was getting forward, so he kind of played a left back in the wing back position, which would kind of push you towards Johnson, and then Cresswell would still be able to get forward. He was getting forward. Probably even more at the left of a back three than he was as a left back, right?
He was, He was. So what do we think is going to happen? Do we think first we've got to go for shape first? So do we think
it's going to be three at the back?
You think it'll go three at the back? So it's going to be Cresswell, isn't it?
I think so, based on that what Gary said as well. Yeah.
So is that going to be Zuma central?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we're basing this on what we think Moyes is going to do, aren't we? We're thinking Moyes is going to three at the back, and if we think he's doing that, we know what he'll do is he'll go with what he's done before and what he trusts. And that's what he'll play.
Well, and also based on the fact that Souček came out and said that we've been doing something different in training or whatever, so we're thinking, what will the difference be? So we're probably looking at what Moyes is going to pick based on Souček's comments. If it is all to do with formation, maybe not, but
okay, right wing back.
Fredericks.
No Johnson, no.
No, because he's got to go left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I do.
Masuaku's out as well, isn't he? So someone's got to go left, and that's going to be Johnson, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Are we all in agreement with that, Nigel? You in agreement with
that?
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I'm just looking at the images of how they've set up Wolves that you put up in the last 3 games against Sutton, but I think that's right there.
Obviously, we know what the central midfield pairing is going to be, or do we? Because is it? Will he play? Because we're all talking about Antonio being tired, and do you know what? As much as I think that Souček is a bit of a duffer in central midfield, I will accept that he has got a bit of instinct in front of goal. And I've said it before. Why not try him? He likes being in and around the 18-yard box. He's a big lump. He seems to have good instincts up there. Why not try something different? Souček should be further forward, like as in being the target man. Why not?
He did that against Man United, didn't he? Towards the end of the game, when we were trying to go for a win, he did put him straight up, didn't he? He was kind of.
I think that's fine. Role. I think that's fine, Grant, as an exception late in the game or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
I think the default position here is we've got to be solid defensively. I would make Souček and Rice both sit.
What against? I mean, that is very defensive, Gary. You've got. I mean, that is.
No, because my it's only my idea. Shout me down, vote me out.
I'm not shouting you down.
No, not you. I'm talking about everybody. I'm only giving my opinion, right? My opinion is for have Rice and Souček sit deep and protect the defense and stop us leaking cheap fucking goals. Cut out Wolves attacks and Southampton, who are going to come at us in midweek as well, and then free up the forward players to do what the forward players are there to do.
Yeah, but don't forget Wolves play in a similar scenario. So let's pretend that this back 5 is Wolves' back 5. So you've got Bowen, you've got Bowen over here on the left hand side. Who's going to play? Sorry, he's on the right hand side, isn't he? He cuts inside.
You see, I wouldn't do that, Nick. I wouldn't do that. I think if you're playing a back 5 like this, and then you put in Rice and Souček in front, then I think you know what I think Nigel said earlier.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the attacking players are going up against effectively a back 5. So how are you going to set your attacking players up to combat that?
Well, my 2 attacking players up front for a start would be Bowen on the left and Antonio on the right up front too.
But then you're playing them as well, as a front 2,
yeah, and then I would have a player behind them in the middle, whoever that is, whether it's Vlasic or whether it's Benrahma or whoever, someone playing the number 10 behind those 2, and someone that can drop back and defend. And for me, that would more likely be Vlasic because he's got the defensive part of his game. So when we drop back, we play with 3 in midfield. When we push forward, we play with 2 in midfield, and Vlasic gets to do all his flary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say Declan Rice does sit in this game, but I would say we're going to. Are we going to sort of anticipate that Lanzini's injured in this? He's not available.
Right. So I was just going to say, when you look at what our social media puts out, you can kind of get a sense who's going to play and who's going to start. So on match day, whoever's in the picture on match day, they're definitely starting. So sometimes it's been Benrahma and it's like, oh, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? As soon as you see it comes out, then you know it. But from the photos they've put out today,
I reckon he'll be dropped.
Photos they put. Yeah. So basically, the pictures they've put out today so far was Fabianski, Fornals, Diop, and Benrahma. So
Diop. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're the pictures they've shared today. Normally, it gives you some indication as to
You
what.
are right. You're 100% right on that.
And that makes me think that Lanzini may still be injured.
No, I think Lanzini's injured, but what I'm saying is, does that mean that Diop's going to come into a back three and Cresswell's going to go left?
I'm thinking that myself, mate. Judging off that, the fact that they're the ones they've chosen, you said just now about how there's all this talk about Areola coming in, and then what do they tweet out today? Picture of Fab. So that probably tells us
because look, like John said, okay. If you've got Masuaku as a left wing back, Masuaku's better. He's a trickier winger than what Cresswell could be. But Cresswell, if you can play him on the left, he gives you more threat than Johnson from the left, surely.
He does,
yeah. And then I think that could be it. I think it could be Diop, Zuma, and Dawson.
Yeah.
Cresswell on the left, Johnson on the right.
Right. Okay. So let's go back then.
Well, now you've said that. Now you've said that about the pictures. I never knew that, Grant. But that's yeah. Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
So we're going to go Johnson on the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can't play after last weekend. There is absolutely no way that Fredericks can start.
No,
he was shocking.
I kind of agree with you there. He was shit, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was out of position every chance he had.
They tell you what, these outer toners, they're worth their weight in gold, aren't they?
Thank you very much.
They certainly are. Well, okay.
James, please.
So you got Declan Rice who's going to do what he always does. He's going to hold, but to prevent him having to fucking surge forward, I would partner him with a Fornals deeper. No, and I'm going to play Souček. I'm going to play Souček. I would play Souček further up because if you've got someone a little bit more creative, the reason Declan Rice surges forward. See, Declan Rice hasn't really got. I know he can pick a pass, he can do a crossfield pass, but as you said, Grant, and I will agree with you on that. He isn't a creative maestro or anything like that. You know, the way that he gets the team up the pitch is by carrying the ball. If you've got Fornals, no one in our team can see a pass like Fornals. As far as
it's hard. Those hard passes in behind, doesn't he? He sees it and then he really puts it through.
And Fornals works as hard as any other player in that team. He can do boxing up.
I'll tell you what, it's got some merit. It's got some merit, and especially because a bit further forward like that, I think Souček would have more time on the ball as well.
I would be happy with Souček out of that sense because I think he's getting fucking lost. Give him a job because at the moment I don't think he knows what he's doing. He's trying to get forward. He's trying to get back. He just looks lost. I would rather just give him something to focus on. And if we have to play him with what he's good at, and I think he's good at scoring. So get him further up and get him attacking the goal.
Are you saying put Souček up front?
Or either up front or play him in that 10 because if we're going to try and get crosses into the box,
I don't think he is a 10. That's a problem.
No, but he isn't a 10. But Gary, we rarely play through the middle. We rarely our 10 doesn't really do anything. Our 10 doesn't really do it. If we was playing through the middle, then I would never play Souček. But it looks like if we're going to try and get width, if we're going to try and structure our attacks by getting the ball out wide to Cresswell, for instance, whipping the ball in, you want Souček in a more advanced position.
So I think, Nick, what we're saying here is either Souček plays where you've got Fornals now,
I think
or he plays the Fellaini role.
Yeah, but I
don't think he can play in the hole. I think he either plays like Fellaini, which is a Moyes, This
here is a problem. They are too one-dimensional. Even though Declan Rice has got way more talent than Souček, which is why he carries the ball forward. We haven't got any creativity from deep. There's nothing there. So, and that's part of the problem. You know, I just think if you've got...
It wasn't a problem last season, though, was it, mate?
Souček chases a fucking game. He tries to get up and join the attack. He's too slow to get up, and then he has to get back again. That's why he's 86 goals in a game.
Let's have a vote. Where do we think that Souček and Rice are going to be playing? Let's start there.
I do think the fact that Souček came out and said that, which I never knew about, Gal, till you said it. I think that he said it. It must be something that's to do with his positioning. It makes you think that automatically. And what Grant said's there quite interesting because we know Moyes loved Fellaini, and it might be a case of playing him further up to get those Fellaini type headers in. It might be. Grant might be right.
I think we'll both agree though. When you play them two together in that position, right? Because look, when you get the ball, you've got a knit. You've got a knit. The midfielder's jobs is you've got to have someone winning the ball, and then you got to have somebody knitting play. So you get the ball, you transition it from midfield to attack. These two are not very good at that. Declan Rice can drive the ball forward. He can, but the reason he does that is because we haven't really got any creativity or movement up front. I don't think he does that because I don't think he does it because he wants to. He does it out of necessity. It's like if Declan Rice is probably the most passed to player in the pitch. I think they give him the ball because they're too reliant on him.
But it's not even they're too reliant on him, Nick. It's just he wants the ball all the time because he's the captain.
It's the same for England.
Yeah, he's the same
for England.
He
takes it off the back four and we get going.
Yeah, but that is fine. And the thing is, I've got no issue with him driving. If he does it 3 or 4 times in the game, what's the problem? If he does it 3 or 4 times in the game, and that's kind of what he does anyway. He don't do it all game long. It's the fact of the matter is, the reason you remember Declan Rice doing something is because it's usually quite effective.
Yeah.
You're
right, mate.
In a game, and you'll remember it because he carries the ball forward and he goes past 3 or 4 players, and it's a memorable moment. But I do think that he's. Like what people have said before, if he went to Man City and he's in the midfield with De Bruyne and players like that, yeah, Declan Rice is a CDM. He sits.
Yeah, but also if he goes to Man City, everyone in front of him moves in a rotation and moves into space.
I think we need.
Oh, have we losing Nick?
Soucek strangled him.
Oh, that's...
Soucek's coming behind the glory.
A timely broadband failure in Enfield. Fucking hell. It's a tragedy. It really is a tragedy.
The way
Nick, we can't hear you. You're gone.
Well, we've lost his... I think there is a lot of merit. There's a lot of merit to what Nick said, right?
If you look one thing though, and it's all to do with if you look at the Wolves' last 3 games, how they've set up. If you look at the people, if you look at Arsenal, who beat them, played with a back 4 with the 2 sitters in Xhaka and Partey, and then they have 4 attackers. Looking at what we've just put up there, the 7 players, that is that is very defensive. Yeah, but we're ignoring you now. That is 7. That's 7 very defensive players there.
No.
So there's a bit of me that's now beginning to doubt having 5 at the back.
Yeah, you're not having 5 at the back. You're only having 5 at the back when you're out of position.
No, but what he's doing is you're having 5 at the back when you're out of position, and then if you've got Deck and Soucek, you're probably having 7 people back. You're not nullifying your attacking.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Going forward, Nigel, it's 3 at the back. It's 2 surging down the wings. It's 2 defensive midfielders that will be pushing up. It's the attacking midfielder pushing up as well, and the 2 boys up front will be giving the defenders a hard time. I mean, I think that's a lot more attacking, to be honest.
See,
than the shape we've been playing.
Last week they played Leicester, and I watched the game. They beat Leicester 2-1. I thought they were lucky to win. Leicester were by far. Leicester started.
They outplayed them.
By far outplayed them.
Yeah.
And they nicked a goal in the second half to win and managed to hold on to win the game. And Leicester should have got a minimum point out of that. So they got outplayed there. I didn't see the Arsenal game Wednesday night. Or was it last night? It was last night.
Yeah, last night.
So I've not seen any of it. So all I know is that Arsenal scored 2 goals late in the second half to win the game. Or
I think Wolves were quite unlucky last night, personally.
So to me, Wolves were classic Wolves this season last night in that they started really well. They got the early goal, and then the game gets away from them. Yeah. And that's kind of what the stats show. So if you can stop the early goal, you've got even more of a chance of.
Perhaps we'll have a look because against Spurs, if you remember rightly, I mean the 2 Spurs goals that Wolves scored, you could actually say were comical defensive mistakes by Spurs. They had 3 or 4 chances with both goals to clear the ball properly, and they failed to do it. The Leicester game, they were lucky to win, and then they've lost against Arsenal. I know it's weird looking at this image that Nick made of the 3 last games and the way they've set up. I'm not sure about that. I think actually that's a bit too old. That's too defensive for me.
It does look. It looks too defensive.
Yeah, it does. It looks too defensive to me. And actually, I'm not as scared as Wolves as I was. I think we're going to win now.
And the thing is, not Nigel. And the thing is, if you play with that many players deep, and then look, for argument's sake, you put fucking Vlasic there.
Yeah,
you put Bowie in there and Antonio there. That's not enough.
No, it ain't. It's not.
That's not enough. That's defense heavy. I mean, because what you got to remember is these 3 are going up against that the other way around. What the fuck? What the fuck do you want them to do?
Yeah, I would lose. I'd probably keep. I would lose Diop.
Well, and just go 4-4-2.
I probably would. I think.
But ain't that the same formation we've been playing? And
no, because we ain't played 4-4-2, have we?
No, not 4-4-2. No, we've been playing 4-2-3-1. Yeah.
Because the other real alternative is to go 4-3-3, put people right up alongside Antonio, play a sort of a Liverpool style.
Yeah.
But then you've got to bring somebody else into the midfield. And who's that going to be that's not going to get overrun?
Between them 2, I'd put Fornals purely because he runs about more. His energy levels can cope. In between Fornals, in between Rice and Souček.
Yeah.
But if you go 4-3-3, do you not want one of them to see, I would say if I was going 4-3-3, you've got to have somebody that's going to sit in front of the back 4 and break everything up and be the outlet ball from the back and all that sort of stuff.
That would be
which
Rice
should be Krau, but we.
Well, yeah.
But we're not going to play Krau, and we can't. We haven't got Lanzini, so we can't play Lanzini alongside Souček. And this just all comes back. We've got no options, and in reality, I don't know what Souček's on about. Maybe they got new potato salad, maybe they put an extra spice in it that he thinks is amazing. Because and we'll just go 4-2-3-1 because it's Moyes, and this is everything all the time. Is a set system that's just played out the same way over and over. And I'm not bashing Moyes. I'm just saying this is just what we do.
But I think Grant, I think even Moyes will have seen. And look, results have been all right. We've been getting points, but our performances have been poor for a while. And I think Moyes will see that. And we're lacking.
Nick, mate, he didn't see. He hasn't seen that, mate, because he'd have gone and bought players in January. But allegedly he scoured the world and he couldn't find anything better. So
mate, don't get me started on the transfer window. I completely agree with you.
Someone's revealed today, I don't know if it was Sky or whatever, apparently that it wasn't Spurs that Liverpool nicked Diaz off of. It was us, according to David Moyes.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, we were linked.
You right, Nick? You right, Nick? He's just made a funny noise.
Nick, we can't see Nick. He's just imploded.
I have. I'm chain smoking. Right, hang on.
I mean, Diaz was one of the 1,473 players we were linked with in January. So
what are we going to go for here? Are we going to go 4-3-3 or 5-3-2 or what are we going to do?
You can't do that. That is defensive as fuck. I think that is.
I can't see that. Did you basically? Yeah, you
playing for a draw at home.
I can't see that. I can't.
All right, let's scrap it in. Let's go 4-3-3. I like 4-3-3.
So what about what Alan says in the chat then?
What does Alan?
He says I would play 4-1-2-3.
Hang on, Johnson, Cresswell, Zuma, Dawson, Diop as a sweeper. Yeah, no, look, I've said this before because Diop is questionable sometimes. He's questionable sometimes as a centre back because he switches off a little bit. But I think he's athletic. Yeah. I think he's athletic. I think he's got the ability to play in a central defensive midfield role. I do. Whether or not he'll do it, I don't know.
If you're going to play a sweeper, that's no problem. But when the sweeper picks up the ball and goes forward, the defensive midfielder has to. The classic sweeper role is there is a defensive midfielder that then drops in and replaces them.
Yeah. But look,
your sweeper's got. I ain't got a problem. I'm just saying that's just.
But this is my issue with the way that we play. Right, you got Fabs. He's great. He is great. No distribution. You got Dawson. Fantastic, amazing player. No distribution. To be quite honest, Zuma, no distribution. He's not a ball playing defender. He's not. He's brilliant, but he's not a ball playing defender. That's why Chelsea let him go, because he couldn't play the way that they wanted him to play. He's not a progressive player. So we've got
alongside Ogbonna, he's fine though.
Yes, he is brilliant alongside Ogbonna. But then in front of them two, you can't have that, because that is 5. Literally, you know, I don't think you can. Not really.
That's 6.
No. I'm talking about central. I mean central in front of him.
But the whole thing about a ball playing centre back and a ball playing goalkeeper is they need somebody that's going to pick the ball up in midfield. That's got to come back and pick it off them.
Declan Rice.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the whole point of a ball-playing goalkeeper and a ball-playing centre-backs is you're not just punting it down the field and hoping whoever you've got up front wins the ball.
Yeah.
And considering Antonio was absolutely shocking, he couldn't win a raffle, then there's...
But where we
just punt it to him.
But where we was most effective against Newcastle was those little passages of play where we played it through the middle, sort of short, sharp passing through the lines, and it worked. You know, we kind of slipped in bit behind their defence. Bowen had a good chance, didn't he? That nod over the top from Fredericks. There was a few others as well. So I think that's the way that we should play with the nippy players that we've got. With to get the best out of Bowen as well. I think to get the best out of him, I think he could score even more if we played him the right way. I think he's a brilliant player.
All right, so what are we doing? Are we going 4-4-2, 4-3-3? What are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know.
Come on, consensus. Let's have a vote. What are we doing? 4-3-3. I'll go 4-3-3.
I will only go 3 at the back if we don't play Declan Rice and Souček together.
Listen, I'll go 4-3-3. Does everyone agree with 4-3-3?
Yeah.
All right, let's go 4-3-3. Go on.
So we obviously Johnson right back. Cresswell.
It's going to go on all night otherwise. Let's come on. This is the longest team selector we've ever done.
Yeah.
We got 15, 16 players and we can't even get them on a pitch.
Right, okay.
Paul said the game's kicking off in an hour.
Missed me train, Paul.
So what's happening with these?
Put Rice in the middle. Put Rice in the middle.
Yeah. Anchor.
And then
Souček on the right, on the left. What's he going to do?
Right. Yeah, he plays right-sided.
On the right.
He's right-footed.
And then it'll probably be a bit more narrow because I think he might expect the fullbacks to bomb on. Yeah. And then I'm still looking, if you're picking a forward-looking player to play alongside them, he's going to go like 4 now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, like you said, he works hard as well, doesn't he?
I must admit, Nigel, I do like Fornals and Cresswell on the same side as well.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So they are.
And then Antonio, Bowen, and Vlasic up front.
Yeah.
I reckon Antonio's going to get dropped.
See, that's almost like a diamond midfield. You could actually pull Rice back a little bit, put Vlasic equal in front of him.
I like that.
The old-fashioned diamond, and then have Antonio and Bowen.
Yeah. Playing the diamond. We've figured it out, Nigel.
No, because you know what this is, Nigel. What this is?
Wrong side, mate.
But this is West Ham playing through the middle.
No. Antonio on the right.
He won't. Moyes won't though. Moyes won't.
Moyes is on the right, isn't he?
No, but look, Moyes ain't going to pick this team anyway. So let's just fill our boots.
Yeah, you know what? The week
I like that.
For me is I do like this setup. Yeah, because Fornals could drift wide. If Lanzini was playing, and Nick will love this, because what you do then is you drop Souček and put Lanzini in. Yeah, and then you've got Deck who can basically pick the ball up, link midfield like Mark Noble used to do. Basically, pick the ball up. And Mark Noble's football career was based on his passing ability. He was second to none when he was on top of his game, at the way he could pick the ball up and pass the ball forward and link people in. And Rice could do that job.
Imagine Declan Rice with options in front of him.
Yeah. So that's that is a big change.
You know, the beauty of this as well is not only is it attacking team, you've also got Benrahma to come on from the bench. And that is his favourite position.
I don't reckon you'll be seeing Benrahma from the bench after what happened last week.
Might not be seeing him again, right?
Nah.
So the other thing to think about is that though Wolves look like they play that front three, that Podence can drop deep, and they go, and he'll drop into the hole, and he'll play a little bit. So he tries to get into the space, and so this formation would work well because then Dec would be able to pick him up if he is, and that would nullify all the space that he thinks he's going to drop into.
I personally think when these two play deep, they're two CDMs, they get in each other's way. You don't need two central defensive midfielders.
No, one to break up, win the ball, play it forward, go.
Yeah, because and like I say, and then Declan Rice won't have to drive forward all game because he'll have passing options in front of him.
Yeah, I love that diamond. I really love that diamond. That has won me over. That diamond, I love it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. See, what do you reckon? What do you reckon? Do you reckon this is gonna be our shape tomorrow?
No, I think so.
No, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
No, but I think that was good though, because look, we built it from the back. I think all of us, like you, Gary, you said Souček and Ross, but I think even when you looked at that, it was too defensive, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
All of those players, and when you look at it on the screen,
we're giving Wolves too much. I was giving Wolves too much respect, and I don't think we should.
Yeah, they don't score many goals, you know.
Yeah, but Moyes sets us up to counter attack all the time. This is not a counter attacking system at all, is it? This is taking the game to the other team.
Yeah, and just lately though, John, our counter attack has been painfully slow. It ain't been a counter attack, is it?
No, I agree. But this is a big. If something like this happened, this would be huge for Moyes. Huge.
See, looking at their setup, they play 3 at the back anyway, didn't they? They play 3-4-3.
Yeah.
But
3-4-1-2.
But this would be a real good test bed for Vlasic in that position as well, because like I said, I don't think Ben Rama. Look, Lanzini can play that role. We know he can. Lanzini can play that 10 role. I don't think we've got another player that can retain possession and use the ball as well as what Lanzini can. He's class, but he's not available. So you know, why wouldn't you put Vlasic in that position? I think. Look, I quite like his attitude, Vlasic. I don't like his performances, but he don't look like he's sulking. He looks like he's you know.
But you said it earlier, Nick. If they played something like this, he's in the middle where he says is his best position. This is them saying, "Go on and show us what you got.
Show us what you got. Show us what you got." Yeah. And you know what? If he grabs it, you know that's because Ben Rama didn't make. He did. He was a central player. Fornals in that game against at the weekend against Newcastle. They switched positions. In the end, Fornals dropped into the middle because Ben Rama was ineffective.
You know the thing about Ben Rama, where they say he's been substituted 18 times, which is a record in the Premier League. That also tells you that he's started 18 games, right? He's had a lot of starts. Moyes has put a lot of faith in him. Yeah, put a lot of faith in him. He hasn't delivered, has he?
But I think what people miss with the substitutions is, and it's evident there, is when you look at it. We've listed 4 players that can play number 10.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that is why, those are the people that get the hook.
Yeah, of course.
Because when he looks to the bench, actually, the only real people, first teamers that are sitting on the bench are the people that play number 10. So it's either Lanzini or Ben Rama or Fornals or Vlasic. Yeah. They all could play that where Vlasic, where we put. You know, we could put Fornals where Vlasic is. We could put Ben Rama where Vlasic is. We could put Lanzini where Vlasic is sitting there. And that's why they've all been subbed. He can't make his bloody mind up.
But coming back down the other end, we'll all accept Antonio's been largely ineffective because he's been up against 2 big central centre backs for God knows how long. Yeah. Right now, I'm not being funny. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants Bowen and Antonio on their shoulders. No, that is much harder to fucking defend against.
And if you look, they play with a back 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to put our 2 against their 3 gives us a good chance.
It does. It does. And like I say, I can't really comment too much on this guy because I still, you know, I like his attitude. Like he's clearly not a bad player. I just haven't seen anything. I've not seen like an amazing pass, an amazing anything from him. I want him to spark. I want him to get going. But I just, you know,
He definitely deserves. Look, we've got to give him a go because it ain't working with Ben Rama, is it?
No,
I don't think
not yet.
it's not working with him. But yeah.
Well, the best I've seen Ben Rama play was when he comes on from the bench. I mean, he's great at Leicester, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah. So look, we've sorted it out. Moyes, if you're watching, we've sorted your team out.
Back to the diamond in the 90s. Diamond of the 90s.
We'll fax it across to you later.
Should we do a Premier League predictor before we go? I might as well round it.
Let's do a Premier League.
Yeah, let's get it to midnight. Fuck it.
Hang on 1 minute.
Let's round it up. 3 hours. 3 hours.
Nigel spent the afternoon in IKEA with his missus. He don't want to see her again today.
Nigel's got a lot of shit to build.
He has.
No, I
can't find my predictor. There it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we bought. Oh, and he went for the fucking breakfast and the hot dogs.
Yeah, the hot dogs are all right. Actually.
Breakfast and the hot dogs.
I hate
you have breakfast when you go in, isn't it?
Okay.
And like 2.5 hours later, when they've looked at everything, but then just picked up the storage boxes that we actually went to get. Yeah, and it was time for hot dogs. And and I made Joe Swash laugh anyway.
I was there, was he?
He was there with Stacey Solomon and the baby, and I went to get hot dog and squirted tomato sauce on it, and it came out, and it was that lingo bloody berry, wasn't it? I've squirted all over me. And I went to him, I didn't see who it was. I went, mate, don't put that on your hot dog because it ain't sauce. And he went, what is it? He said, I've just put all this shit over me hot dog. And he started laughing his head off. He went, oh, thanks for the tip. So I just whacked a load of mustard on it and walked off.
Right, okay, let's get this Premier League predictor done. Gary, Leeds United versus... Oh, look, I don't even need to tell you what to say here. Leeds versus Spurs.
4-1.
4-1.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. Leeds are on fire at the minute.
To be fair.
Serious question.
Yeah.
Loser leaves town, manager-wise.
No.
Mate, I think Bielsa's I've said it. I think Bielsa's overrated. The geezer's...
No,
he's technically inept. He can't change. He just does the same thing.
Yeah. He's great football.
He ain't got a big...
Sounds like an Argentinian Moyes.
It is great football.
Nigel, did you say great football?
Yeah, it's great football, honestly.
There comes a point.
Got injury problems. He's got a thin squad there. If he had his best 11 out, Leeds.
Yeah, he likes a small squad, don't he?
Yeah,
he only likes certain types of players. Likes a small squad. Yeah, and tactically doesn't change. Isn't it good
that we've actually got a Tottenham manager that we all like?
Yeah.
Great bloke.
You know, just when you think it can't get any better.
I'll tell you what, this is the man who turned the club down because he said they wouldn't.
It's a beautiful thing that happens to Spurs, right? Where they go up to Man City, we all think they're shit. They turn Man City over, and they all start celebrating the league again and buying their DVDs and everything else. Then they go and lose 1-0 away to Burnley. It's fantastic, isn't it? You couldn't make it up.
Right, John, Brighton and Hove Albion versus Aston Villa.
2-1 Brighton.
Yeah. I think
Villa ain't doing that well, are they? Really?
They're not now. Not now.
No, I think Stevie Gerrard's been found out.
Right, Nigel, the Nigels versus Burnley.
Fuck off! Oi, Alvin, don't go down that road, yeah. Yeah, fucking chipmunk. Sit there laughing your head up. Fucking Palace. Palace won. Burnley won.
1-1.
Wow.
1-1.
Exciting game, that one.
Right. Okay, Grant. Great one for you, this one. Brentford versus...
yeah, based on what we saw last week, I think that'd be Brentford 1, Newcastle 2.
Ooh.
Harry, Man U versus Watford.
3-1.
3-1.
Yeah, Watford got.
I had high hopes for Watford. When we played Watford, I had high hopes for them. I thought they'd do quite well, but they've gone down the toilet again, haven't they?
Well, no, they won at the weekend. Then they got pumped in the week. 4-1 at home, didn't they? Was it 4-1 at home?
Yeah. It's not an easy job, that one, is it, for Roy?
No, not at all.
Frank against Man City.
John, Everton versus Man City.
0-2. 0-2.
Nigel, Chelsea versus Leicester.
1-1.
Yeah, I'd go with that. Right, there we go. You got the money shot, Grant. West Ham versus Wolves.
Don't let us down, Grant. Don't let us down.
1-0.
He's going to throw us under the bus.
Be a low.
No, I wonder.
Oh,
Be a
it's
low
gone for a
scoring
wet
game.
stone. Fucking-
Right, and finally, Gary, Arsenal versus Liverpool.
1-2.
Liverpool to win that.
1-2.
Yep. Right. Where does that put us?
Fifth.
Fifth. That'd do, wouldn't it? That'd do.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd do. Nice. There we go.
Hang on.
Wouldn't it be ironic? Wouldn't it be ironic if Frank comes into Everton and gets Everton relegated for the first time in their history?
I would laugh. Yeah.
Nick, you've got that wrong, Nick, because Chelsea and Man City are playing in the Carabao Cup on Sunday, so they're
No, they're not, because we knocked Man City out.
not Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. So the Chelsea game's not on.
So Liverpool ain't playing either.
It's a Premier League predictor. I don't know. So that one's been postponed, is it?
Both
of them have.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, we're the only league game on Sunday.
They're in the Moose Cup, aren't they?
Right.
There we
So
go. Go on, Gary. Yeah, that's it. All done.
That's done. So 2 hours 55 minutes. We're just shy of 3 hours.
Disappointing.
Thank you to all of you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks to everyone who contributed to the chat. Love your comments. Thank you to Grant on your second appearance. It's another sterling appearance. Thanks, mate. Thank you
Thank you for having me back.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Nigel. Brilliant as usual. And check out Nigel's website, 6foot2.co.uk. Thank you to John and Nick as usual. And if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon for all reminders of our wonderful shows. We'll be back on Sunday with our hangover show, reviewing the Wolves win and previewing the Southampton game. Then we'll be back as usual next Friday at 9 for the Claret and Booze Up. Until then, that's us done. Thank you for watching. See you soon, and come on, you irons.
Come on,
you irons.
Nigel.